Hello and welcome to the MinnMax Show, a place about games, friends, and getting better. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Kyle Hilliard.
Violently waving. Hello.
Jeff Argifava.
You got us all the rest of us waving though, Kyle, so it worked.
Suriel Vasquez.
Hello.
And Leo Vader.
And the waving gifs get a lot of mileage in the Discord because they people put them when they're introducing new people to the Discord. So I'm going to give them a free one right now.
Okay, go for it. For the audio listeners, Leo's giving possibly the greatest wave I've ever seen.
Incredible.
Unbelievable. And he's actually turning into a GIF himself. He can't get out of his own loop. Anyways, everybody, we have a lot.
I think they're handing him the Academy Award as we speak.
But unfortunately, he's stuck in the GIF and can't grab it. So, hey, we got a lot to cover on this week's episode of the MinnMax Show. We're talking about some new games we've been playing. Fall Guys. I believe everybody's fallen in love with this one. And then some odds and ends. Nioh 2, Suriel Vasquez, yes.
I've played it.
Great. And then a bulk of the conversation here is going to be running down the release calendar for 2020 because we're definitely in that spot where I just had a vague impression. It's like, I just had facial surgery and then they were taking the gauze off around my eyes. I could barely see what was happening on the horizon. And so the point of this podcast is let's actually get 2020 vision, no pun intended. Boy, this is a punny episode. And actually lay out what's coming when, and there will be... Yeah, we really should.
Context for this game could not be sweatier, I have to say.
So the point is, we're going to be having a bit of a bidding war / some would say a release calendar 6-shooter duel to figure out who gets to play which games unofficially. The point is we're running down the release calendar for 2020, everybody, so please enjoy that. And then, of course, back after the show, we have a bunch of community questions that people submitted on Patreon. Okay, first things first. There is a state of play focusing, PlayStation says, on PS4 games and PSVR games on Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. I'll be streaming reactions to that. You can find it on the YouTube channel, but we won't be talking about anything that was announced there, so we're sorry, but as of the time of this recording, we don't know what it is. Let's see. Also, we should reveal something big. The next deepest dive. Jeff,
Don't do it.
Okay.
Don't you do it.
This is an interesting one. We were planning one, and then Suriel said, hey, what about this as a deepest dive? And then everybody said, yes, we should do that. That feels much more timely and appropriate. And so this is going to be a quick turnaround.
Kyle's revealing it right now.
Sonic the Hedgehog because of the rings.
No, it'll all make sense in just a moment.
Yeah.
So the next deepest dive is going to be... Drum roll, please, everybody. Halo Combat Evolved, the 2001 game. This is going to be timely because of Halo Infinite, obviously. It seems like they're kind of hearkening back to that era of Halo. So I've never finished Halo. It's up there for the games that I've started over and over and over again and never finished. But we're kicking this off with a fast turnaround, so it's going to be next week. Play through the first 5 missions. So stop after the assault on the control room level. So we're splitting it up into 3 conversations. So first conversation, which is the conversation airing on August 12th, that is going to be the first 5 missions of the game. Next week after that's going to be the final 5 missions of the game. Then the week after that is a bit of a bonus week where we're going to be talking about the multiplayer of Halo 1. There's going to be a lot to discuss overall. I assume I'm the only one that's never finished Halo 1?
Actually, I haven't finished it either. I've played the early levels a couple of times, but most of my time with Halo has been in with Halo 1 has been in multiplayer.
Ending's the best part.
Oh, interesting.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
are we going to go for the legendary ending or just the regular ending?
We'll see what kind of person you are, Kyle. And so the way this works is, breaking it up into multiple sections. If you want to play along with us, submit a comment for us to read on the Deepest Dive. You can support us at any tier on Patreon. Then we'll have a post up on August 10th, that Monday, saying, hey, leave a comment here. And then if it's a great one, if it's a good one, or just a pretty okay one, we'll read it on the episode and you can join us for the discussion. Should be a great time. So please let us know what you think about that choice in the comments below. We'd appreciate any feedback like that. Hey, Kyle. As the biggest fan of Halo on this podcast, I do believe, I'm curious what you thought of the announcement last week, which seems like it was a leak that then Microsoft and 343 revealed the truth quickly, that Halo Infinite's multiplayer is going to be free to play.
I mean, I think it's a good thing. I think it's exciting. The one downside to it is that it implies that there's going to be like some kind of microtransaction sort of focus or loot boxes or something.
Do you think?
But yeah, I think so. I mean, because it's basically, it would be, although, I mean, optimistically, because it's like you can buy the game or you already have Game Pass. So like the group of people who would be playing that free-to-play version might be small, so maybe they won't be too concerned with trying to monetize it too much. But like,
well, also,
honestly, like that's the only negative in my sort of viewpoint, is that it might sort of focus on microtransactions. But otherwise, I don't think there's much of a downside. It just means more people will be playing. My old high school friends that I played a lot of Halo with, who don't really play a lot of games anymore, I can be like, hey, let's play Halo. It's free.
Yeah. It's a weird thing with Game Pass specifically, because like the free players enhance the Game Pass players' experience just because there's more people to play with. So it's like I could see them not monetizing it out of the gate, where they're just like, hey, this is just Halo. You know, they're obviously trying to, you know, it's like a big nostalgia play for them to say like, this is just like the Halo you remember. And so I can see them saying like, this is it, like this is intact and whatever. And then, you know, months down the road, that's when they start doling out microtransactions.
Yeah. What gives me hope that maybe they won't be leaning as heavily into microtransactions as this would look at first is, you know, they said that they're announcing, or that they're letting folks play with xCloud on Android devices in September. And so maybe this is just kind of their Trojan horse for getting xCloud on as many devices as possible, with that idea like, hey, you can have xCloud, you can play anywhere. Is it? But I guess that's confusing, because I guess you have to pay for xCloud.
A Game Pass subscriber.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, my hope is that like kind of like I know Warzone has a lot of microtransactions and things you can spend money on, but like there are bonuses for owning Call of Duty. So like my hope is that like if you're a Game Pass subscriber or you buy the game outright, you get all these bonuses, and then the only monetary incentive for the free-to-play players is to buy the game or sign up for Game Pass. Like, that would be my hope.
Yeah. It's a crazy change of the era, you know, and you got to wonder if they'd be doing this if it wasn't for Call of Duty creating Warzone this year. This seems to be going pretty well for them overall. And so they also said that the multiplayer is going to be 120 frames per second on the Series X, which is interesting. Very curious to see what that looks like and how big it'll be. Leo, do you think, like, you're not a diehard Halo guy, but do you think that free-to-play aspect would get like your friend group to check it out?
Definitely. My friend group plays through whatever new Halo or whatever old Halo comes out again on PC. That's been going on. So I can't imagine they wouldn't be interested in a free one.
Yeah. Crazy.
But it's
crazy
120
times.
frames per second. I wonder if it'll have like crossplay at that point. Because sometimes I think with Destiny across generations, they're like, we don't want the frame rate advantage of 60 versus 30. I wonder if 120 versus 60.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
With Destiny, it's weird because even on PC, people have different setups. So I don't, you know, like someone might not have the hardware to run it at you know, 140 or whatever versus 60. So I'm curious to see what like that split is like. But
true.
Yeah, I guess I never really questioned the wisdom of it being like maybe it's crossplay across everything. You know, I guess that never even came to mind.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's Halo stuff. Join us for the deepest dive. We should mention that Halo 1 is available on Steam in the Master Chief Collection, and then also it's on Game Pass, so there's plenty of ways to play it. You can even play it on the original Xbox if you want to. I think that'd be really fun to have some folks bring it out and play on the Duke or something. So hopefully, you know, we're aware we've been playing a lot of PlayStation games for the deepest dive, and so hello, Xbox players, this one is for you. Mwah.
Also, I guess we can decide right now. I mean, I think the best approach, because it is the anniversary edition that's in the collection.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's not like a remake in the traditional sense where a lot has been changed. So I think if you want to just flip back and forth occasionally, looking at the updated visuals and stuff, I think that'll just be part of the discussion. I don't think you need to commit to one or the other.
Right. I think people will be writing in about all different versions of this game, so it should be a fun chat overall. So look forward to that. Next week, it'll be on our YouTube channel and then the Patreon exclusive podcast feed as well. Fall Guys has been taking the world by storm. This is a new... Oh boy, Mario Party Battle Royale. Is that the easiest way to describe what this thing is?
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, Little Takeshi's Castle, MXC in there as well. But it's on PlayStation Plus, which is a very smart move. It seems like everyone is willing to try this game, and it is a game that is very hard not to laugh your way through when you first check it out. Has everybody here played it?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I've been seeing a lot of clips on Twitter.
That explains that frown. Go play right now. It's time to turn it upside down. Leo and Jeff, you played it for the Great Goatee Hunt. How'd that go for you?
It was probably the best Goatee Hunt ever, right, Leo?
It was really fun. There were a lot of good moments that came naturally out of how goofy those mini games are and how goofy those like physics mechanics are. It really naturally makes it feel different every time and still exciting, even like the 10th time you've done the same obstacle course.
Yeah, so it's...
I mean, it is a game, like, it's for streaming. You know, like, even the first trailer we saw for that, I was like, well, that's going to be a game that a lot of people are streaming. Like, you know, it's made for that, you know?
Yeah, it's a fun generator. You don't have to do anything.
Sure.
Yeah, and so just for the basics of this thing, 60 players enter, Battle Royale-esque, eventually working your way down to one player. And the way it's whittling you down is through a series of mini games, usually involving racing, hiding, trying to manage a ball. It feels a little physicsy, little elements of Gang Beasts in there as well. It's that fine line that's fascinating where you feel like you're just in control enough to feel like I can do better. I can actually get this next time. I can actually get the winner chicken dinner here. But if you really look at what's happening, it's pretty silly. Your character's leaning way back as he's running. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how much of a crapshoot is this versus actual skill.
I think a mix of both. I think there's more luck than most battle royales for sure. But I don't think you can win without being decently good.
Yeah, but it's not just that you feel like you can actually win this. Like, you actually can win this.
Have you won?
I mean, and it is because like the skill threshold is pretty low, especially compared to other battle royales. Like you're basically, you have a jump button, a dive button, and a grab button that doesn't come into play all too often. And it's like a series of 4 different, like mini game modes that you have to get through. I've won it.
Wow.
I can do it.
Oh, Bryan.
Anyone can. Yeah, Leo won it.
Way to go, guys. I just played a little bit last night. We did not win at any point. But you're right. It is that thing of, I love Battle Royales, but at a certain point I realize, like, the odds of me winning one of these things are very low, unless I have Chef from Insnacks Grant carrying me through in Warzone or something like that. But then with this one, it's like, well, just because it is a little bit looser, sillier, there is a chance I could actually win this thing. It's just so nice to have a new Battle Royale experience that's like, well, this is doable, actually. I might be able to see this one through.
Yeah, and you wouldn't expect this like obstacle course thing to feel the same as another Battle Royale, right? Like where the pulse is pounding towards the end and the stakes just keep getting higher and higher, but it really does. You really get that same like relief winning around, and like the satisfying victory and the crushing defeat. It's all there.
Yeah, but it's in like a 10-minute chunk instead of, 40 minutes, and it's 10 minutes of pure entertainment and like action the entire time, as opposed to like, well, I'm going to hide in this bathtub now for the next 10 minutes because that's the smart play to do. Like here you are constantly running or, jumping into a giant horde of other people. Trying to push your way through a breakaway door and stuff.
Some of those
they're called beans. Is the fiction, Jeffem? So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. Yeah, Kyle's actually read the novel for Fall Guys, so he can actually shed some light on this thing overall.
You're like adapting it into a movie, right?
It's coming soon.
I can't say much about it yet, but
okay.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like my favorite game within Fall Guys that I've played so far. I really love. I think it's always the grand finale one, I believe, where it's just kind of like, looks like a bee's nest, kind of that hex grid, and then you're just running.
Hexagon.
Yes, hexagon. Thank you. As you're running, then that disappears beneath you, and just trying to carve out your little space and trying to have some place to jump to, and then there's layers and layers and layers of it until there's only one person left. That's such a brilliant little piece of design that I think works super well, and it always feels like, I think I can do this, and then it just goes awry immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you end up being the one on the highest platform, and it's like wide open. You're like, oh, I got this. And then you fall down like through 3 of them as you're falling. And it's like, oh.
It's brutal. Kyle, are you enjoying the game?
Yeah, I had a good time. I don't know if it's going to be like a long-term staple for me. Like, I think I had a lot of the fun that I'm going to have with it playing it with my kid last night, which was which was a joy, like for both of us to be in the same rooms. And like when I was out, I would root her on and vice versa and stuff like that. But I think the sort of the luck element, which is heavy, like doesn't really make me like eager to go back a ton. But it's like, it's kind of undeniable fun while you're playing, you know? Like,
yeah.
When you're in, you're having a good time. But
yeah, I want to know.
I don't really see myself like eager to like, oh, I can't wait to get my Fall Guys skill up. You know, it's like, just I don't know if it'll be long-term fun for me, but I had a great time playing it last night for sure.
Oh, good. Yeah, I do want to know what that long-term life is for this thing. I mean, people are comparing it to Rocket League with, you know, getting on PS Plus out of the gate. I mean, I don't think it's going to be as successful as Rocket League, but at the same time, I want to see like pro-level streams a year from now. I want to know what this system evolves into. And they have seasons. Seems like they'll be adding stuff along the way to keep people coming back to some extent. But I just want to know like how this thing is going to evolve just on the player level.
And strategies for each mode.
Right.
Like, that's what the high-level play will be, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that would get me coming back frequently are just like, we've added 5 new games, like 5 new mini games or whatever. It looks like some were already cut from the beta even.
Oh, really?
So like, I think so. There was one that was like, you had to tag people, like you would get jinxed. Which
that one's in there.
You did? Okay, so that one's still there. I didn't see it at all last
Well, there's
night,
the one with like the tail, if that's what you're talking about, where you have to grab the tail.
No, that's a different one as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's interesting because I thought maybe they had cut it, but like the idea that they could cut things and add different games, like that's the thing I think that would keep me coming back occasionally.
Yeah. I think that's going to be the key to any kind of longevity is treating it like a live service game and just continuing to add new modes and like interesting stuff from week to week that makes you think, oh yeah, like I want to go check back into that.
And they can have, you know, different costume elements pulling from different holidays and stuff. I feel like there's enough to kind of spice it up, but it is just that feeling of like, oh yeah, here's a little bit of a lightning strike in the industry. Yes, this is exactly what the industry needed, is silly, goofy, physicsy battle royale. You wouldn't think it, but once it's there, it's like, oh yeah, of course this is going to take off, and I'm glad to see its success overall.
Yeah, and this is like the one battle royale where I don't have any angst about jumping back into the next match, whereas most of them, you know, like especially if I do well in, you know, like Call of Duty battle royale or whatever. Once I do good, I think like, okay, I'm done for the night because I'm still on edge, and it's like it feels like such a commitment to jump back into it and do a full another run. But with this, it's, you know, it's so fast and it's so breezy, and it doesn't feel really as competitive in the way that if you're actually just like shooting other players during it, like everyone's just in there having a good time and no one's taking it personally, unless you're playing one of the team modes and your team lets you down, which they frequently do.
I mean, there are people who are standing in front of the finish line now.
Yeah.
Who are just trying to grab people before they cross, which is like kind of annoying, but like I'm not so butthurt about it. Like it's like, all right, you rascal.
Yeah, exactly. You rascal is the worst thing you can say in Fall Guys, I think. Yeah. But yeah, Fall Guys, check it out on PS Plus if you want a free, easy way to check it out. Hey, Cyril Vasquez.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you tweeting up a storm this week, just in a rage. This Analogue Pocket thing. Can you explain what that is and why you're so excited to get one?
It's a Game Boy for people who have too much money and or don't care about the money they have.
And so it's just a portable emulation thingy?
Yeah, well, it's not. Well, I think their sell is that it's using like FPGA, so it's not technically software emulation, which is I think what a lot of like these like retro consoles do. I think they're using like actual chipsets to run the games versus, you know, you load the cartridge in and it's like, okay, this is the file that we need to run on our end.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, makes it more accurate. It has like these different screen modes. So if you plug in, so I think out of the gate, it's compatible with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance, and then you can buy adapters that let you play Game Gear and Neo Geo Pocket Color games, Atari Lynx games, and so you plug it in, and they have like different screen modes. So if you plug in a Game Boy game, you can make the screen kind of match the same like green and gray hues that you get out of an original Game Boy.
Yeah, like on the 3DS thing. Yeah.
So you can do that. it supports like a bunch of link cables and stuff, and then you can buy a dock that lets you stream it out through HDMI. So
oh, really?
On the screen. Yeah, I don't think it's compatible with everything. I don't think you can like plug it into a GameCube and play Four Swords Adventures that way, which would be, the ideal use of what, let's say $1,500, I guess.
Yeah, because they're $200 each. Oh,
yeah. So yeah, but it's like mostly this is the one that I have games for, like because they've released ones that are basically the equivalent of a Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Genesis so far. And I like games from those consoles, but those games are usually available elsewhere. Like the Super Nintendo one didn't appeal to me because I already have, a lot of those games in the Classic or through the Switch service, right?
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of Game Boy games lying around, like Game Boy Advance games especially, that I would want to play and stream and stuff. So like this seems like, okay, well, if I'm going to get one of these high-end consoles and feel cool about playing retro games, it may as well be this one.
And what's going to be the first game you play on there?
Probably like either one of the Game Boy Castlevania games or Metroid Zero Mission, which I've been meaning to play. So those are pretty good.
There's Wars, huh?
That one is available on 3DS. Well, if you were like one of those ambassadors. And also, yeah, it's like I have not played it before, and it feels like, I really liked Metroid Fusion when I played it, so I don't know why I wouldn't have played the other really good one that people talk about. So
yeah. Oh, that's nice. And now they're completely sold out everywhere, and you're going to be the last person on earth to get it.
That's right. Thing. I can't wait to play one game and then resell it for $1,000. Well, they said that they have more.
Elijah Wood, he's on the hunt.
That's true. I could totally scam Elijah Wood out of a bunch of money. Is what I'm looking forward to. No, I think they said it's not out until May of next year, and I think they've said that hey, we're expecting more stock to be available before then. Hopefully, like they're not making promises, but they're saying hopefully we'll have another round of pre-orders available before then. But yeah, it's kind of a weird wait, to announce pre-orders almost a year in advance. But
yeah. Well, congratulations, man. I hope you feel like part of the elite now.
Yeah, I'll at some point look at it and say, should I have spent this much money? But I'll have played some games on it before then, so it'll.
Wow. Cyril, didn't you tweet that you're a big stupid for buying it?
Oh yeah, I totally see this as like there are way cheaper ways to have done this, including the fact that I have a Game Boy Advance already. But you can. What am I going to do? Like, that's not it. That's not the big fancy one.
Hey, man.
That I can put on my TV.
No. It is a sharp looking little device.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look nice.
Yeah, it's got a cool look overall. Analogue Pocket was the name of that thing. Just before we started recording this episode of the MinnMax Show, there was a big E3 press conference from our dear friends at Intellivision, the Intellivision Amico, which... Ben Reeves and I last year back at Game Informer had a meeting with Tommy Tellerico, who's heading up this kind of revival of Intellivision, old game composer, Earthworm Jim, stuff like that. And their pitch is just so fascinating and bizarre. I've just been locked in on all Intellivision news as they've been trickling it out. And so they had a stream that was basically Intellivision's Nintendo Direct. It is just surreal because... They showed some gameplay for some games. Other games, like they have a new platformer. What's it called? Oh, Finnegan Fox. This is an Intellivision exclusive platformer, and they just showed like screenshots of that one. But it's like this weird nostalgia play at times where it's like, hey, we got a new missile command, and here's like the new developer for the new missile command. It's just got this weird indie grassroots vibe, showcasing a lot of very small teams, including there's a team called Concrete Software that's making a version of Spades for Intellivision, which was the star of the show for this press conference stream. But they're based out of Minnesota. Like they're actually going to be very close to where the new MinnMax studio is going to be in September. And it's like, what a weird thing. This like small Minnesota team, you're like, huzzah, Spades on the Intellivision, everybody. But so Tommy Tellerico announced that they're actually going to be partnering with with MLB to create Intellivision Major League Baseball, which is going to be an exclusive game. And all these games are very family friendly. They're kind of trying to corner that Wii market in the year 2020, which that proposal alone, I want to see how that goes. So then they transition, not showing any MLB footage. Then they transition into what's going to be the pack-in game for the Intellivision Amico, which is Intellivision Cornhole. Because Tommy Tellerico explained that Cornhole and the American Cornhole League, the ACL, is the fastest growing league in the country at this point. And this is, the game you have a beer with and throw beanbags into the hole. And they showed plenty of footage of that one. This is the level that I just cannot look away from. They're partnering with Mattel for a Hot Wheels game. And then they had this big, the centerpiece here was they're making a licensed Evel Knievel game for the Amico. And so it looks like Joe Danger. And then they got an interview with Tommy Tallarico where he's talking to the son of Evel Knievel about this video game. It is just the most surreal thing, but I love that this company's going for something different,
John Knievel.
That's right.
I laughed when you said that it's like, there's a huge E3 press conference, but I don't want to be too dismissive because I actually am kind of interested in this thing. I want to
buying one.
Play it. How did they say how much it's going to be?
Yes. Let's see. Amico.
Is it less than 200?
I think it's around there. Ooh, yeah. Well, wait a minute. I'm looking at the original television. That's different. I was like, 250? That seems outrageous. I don't know. We'll try and find it.
That's kind of about where my line is, I think. If it were above 200, I think it's probably a no. If it's under 200, I'm considering it because I'm curious about it. It's a weird thing, there might be something there. I don't know.
So, are you interested in it as hey, I own one of these weirdo, remember that time this thing came out? Or is it dude, I need to play the new Missile Command?
I think it's I want to play the exclusives.
Have you seen them?
Wait, so you said better exclusive than PS5. Is that what you're saying right now?
It's a longer live stream than the PS5 reveal one was.
Hey, one more need to know. By the way, Kyle, bad news. It looks like they're ballparking $250 for the cost of the Intellivision Amico.
But cornhole will be.
It is packed in. So at that point, what have you got to lose?
Now I do have actual cornhole boards. Does that change my opinion?
How often do you play them?
Not often.
There we go. But yes, the controller is just this funky thing. So it's like taking this dial from the original Intellivision and then extending it, putting a touchscreen in there, a bunch of gyro stuff, and then it's just got two buttons, these huge buttons on either side. I've played with it. It is surreal. It is a very, very strange controller to play with. It works enough, but it's funny. They had highlight reel developers in the stream, and they're like, "This." There's one developer, and he said, "This is hands down the greatest controller ever." It's
wait, so
just slow your roll.
Do you hold it? Is it like this? You hold it like that,
like
and
a
then
phone?
Turn the dial.
You can do it a number of different ways. Yeah.
And then you press the button with your thumb?
Yep. Or you can hold it sideways and then press the buttons on top. Look, we've talked too much about the Intellivision Amico, but just in terms of weird oddities in the game industry, Amico is near the top of that heap for me. So
we're all going to be talking about cornhole next year.
That's right. Speaking of next year...
That ACL will tear into us, for sure.
They announced that it was going to be released on October 10th, and they said, because of the virus, a bunch of other stuff, we're now shooting for April 15th, 2021. So we got a little bit more to wait before we can play with the Intellivision Amico. Hey, Kyle. Yes. Hey, Kyle. You've been playing a game called Skully?
Yeah, I played it a little bit, yeah.
How is it?
It's a platformer. It's interesting. It's the premise is you crash land on this island, you die and crash land on this island, and this god wakes you up, but just your skull. And then he's like, "Hey, I need your help. My family of gods have all been arguing for millennia. I need you to help me with this." And then you help them by doing platforming activities around this island. But the thing that I like about it is that because you're just a skull, you're like a little ball. The platforming can get really specific and it controls well. And because you're rolling, you can kind of get a lot of momentum going. And so it feels different than your average platformer because it's a lot faster. And because you're such a small character, you can land on really small platforms and do different things like that. So I was impressed with my initial playthrough. It left a good first impression. And I was I'm honestly interested in the story. I didn't think that's what I was signing up for. I didn't know what to expect going in. I'm in the middle of a family of gods. That's kind of interesting, yeah. So it's a good first impression. I think it's kind of interesting.
Is it like Marble Blast?
Ooh, no, not really. I mean, I just imagine like a 3D Mario platformer, but just the thing that you're controlling is just something that has a lot more momentum and a lot more specificity in where you can land. So you're not like, because like in Marble Madness, like part of the sort of challenge of that game is like controlling the roll and using it to your advantage. But this feels closer to just like a standard platformer on that sort of gradient, I guess.
Okay. Huh. Skully. So you're going to stick with it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm playing it on Switch. I'll keep going with it, yeah.
Oh, nice. Serial, you've been playing a game that came out this year?
Yes, earlier this year.
Man,
March,
time is odd. Nioh 2.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick that up?
I was looking for something, I don't know, like it was on sale for one, and so I figured, hey, why not?
Not enough frustration in your life in general.
Yeah, it was like I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and it's like I'm not cursing enough. I need a game that was harder, and it just feels like, yeah, this game feels like if they just saw what Dark Souls was doing and said, what if that game had every system in it? What if we just had a billion layers to everything? Because like there are a ton of like really minor, like at its core, it is like a Dark Souls-esque game, but there are so many like well, instead of this way that you thought was like core to the Dark Souls experience, we've done it this way. So it's level based instead of it being like an open world, in that you're literally I'm revisiting areas just for the sake of, hey, there's this weird thing going on in this area you were playing in before. Go kill another boss there, and it'll be like a 10-minute mission if you can kill the boss quickly, right? But for the most part, it's like, hey, you need to go to this new area and explore this area and kill a boss there, and that's like every mission ends with a boss. So there's a ton of bosses, and I've already repeated a couple of the bosses. And so on top of that, like, the reason you're doing all this stuff is because that game just has a buttload of loot in it. It's just everything drops like 5 or 6 pieces of loot of different colors, and they're not the color kind of tiers are weird because it's like white, green, blue, and then gold, and then purple. So like you have to retrain your senses of like, oh, gold is like the one you want. Gold is like the best tier. But it's like, hey, this thing has like 7% anima charge rate or whatever, and it's like all these like very disparate stats of like, this is 7% plus this versus this other piece is like 3.4% of this versus 1.9% of this versus just like, hey, this thing gives you like +5 strength.
So it's packed full of content and layers and all that stuff. Is it fun? Are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it in the same way that I enjoy Dark Souls game, in that like in the moment when you're fighting a boss, it feels like the game is complete garbage, and then when you finally do it, you're like, oh, this is the greatest game ever made. But like even then, it's like they just have all these additional layers to even combat, where like in the first Nioh, you have to do these things called key pulses. So after you finish an attack, your character will eventually like glow, and if you press the R button, you get like a bunch of your stamina back. So that's like the way that you can be really aggressive, and demons drop these, like, they'll have special attacks where they drop these pits that kind of slow down your stamina, and you clear those with key pulses. So it's like you're constantly trying to fight for territory. And there's just like this really weird stagger system that I had to like look up to figure out, because they tell you, hey, if the enemies have stamina bars, like in like Sekiro, and when those falter, like, hey, you can grapple them. And so, like, if they run out of stamina, you can basically one-hit KO, like most enemies. But bosses are different in that you can see their bar when their bar runs out, every time you attack them, they'll, like, stagger. So you can basically get a bunch of free attacks in if you know what you're doing. But in order to grapple them, there's, like, basically a hidden, like, second stamina meter where you have to deal enough damage while they have no stamina in order to grapple them. And so, like, you have to figure out, like, okay, how much can I push my luck in trying to get a bunch of damage in on this guy while he's already vulnerable before you can actually pull off an attack. And so, like, they'll do things where it's like most bosses will have a thing where instead of spewing like a one small area of like the dark world, which is like the thing that prevents your stamina from recovering, they'll just turn the entire room into one of those. And so, like, they'll phase shift. And so, like, there's all these different layers to it. You're like unlocking. I don't know if anyone played like Borderlands 2, where you have like those passive kind of like you get like points that are besides experience points. You'll get like 1% to your key or whatever. And so there's that on top of it. There's like a weird, has the same leveling system from Dark Souls. You can infuse yourself with different powers from the enemies you kill, sort of like a Castlevania kind of thing. So there's all these different layers to it. But I don't know that it's better. It just feels like it feels like the exact opposite flavor of like, oh, like some people like it when the idea is just like, Sekiro is like, hey, you just have this skill set. Here's your limited thing. You have your sword. You know it really well.
Right.
Execute on these bosses' patterns. Whereas this feels like the exact opposite of that, where you can have I have 18 different tools at my disposal that I found randomly throughout this world, and maybe I can exploit the boss in such a way that I can just launch these spears at this guy until he has 0 key and then just destroy him. So it feels like it's 100% more RPG than Dark Souls is. And so far, it feels harder because you have to keep all that stuff in your head at the same time while fighting a boss. So it's like anytime you lose to a boss roll, there are 12 different things you could have done differently. So I'm enjoying it. I don't know how much I'll get into it because it is so ridiculously difficult. But
yeah.
I've been playing it basically since I got it. So
I wonder,
I'm having fun with it.
Oh, good. I wonder if there's going to be those people that, big From Software fans that start to realize, I don't think Elden Ring is making it out this year. The silence is deafening on that one. And Jeffem would argue that it's never coming out ever. But I think there are going to be those people that are craving a new, Miyazaki-like experience that maybe towards the end of this year will be like, I should go back to that Nioh too, huh? I feel like it didn't make too big of a splash.
Yeah, it came out I think around, I don't think it was the same week, but it was pretty close to around the same time there were games coming out, like Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Persona 5. And so I think the last time I checked, it was $30 on Amazon. So this feels like a pretty good time to get into it. So if you like cursing at your screen, recommend it. I recommend Nioh 2 for yelling at stuff.
I was just gonna say they did announce Mortal Shell's release date, which is
that's true. Yeah,
not too far. It's 2 weeks or something. So
it's August 18th, I think.
Yeah, so maybe that'll be that game.
Yeah, that could be. Well, hey Kyle, let's find out when Mortal Shell's coming out and if it's going to be that game. Because what we have now is a very scientifically organized and arranged thing we like to call the 2020 release calendar 6-shooter duels. Now, everybody knows.
I don't think we need to explain the rules. I think we're good to go.
I think it's, it was trending on Twitter earlier, so I think we're good to go.
Everybody knows you can play whatever games you want, but what if you couldn't? What if you only had 6 shots and you had to make them count and you could only choose 6 games to play from this massive list of games that are coming out in 2020? Some with dates, some without dates, but the nebulous window of 2020 stuff. So we each have those 6 shots, and I'll be running down the release calendar. And how do you yell bang? Is that going to be too traumatic? Do you yell your name?
You got to go like that, right? Into the camera.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Bang.
But for the podcast,
I feel like if we ever get to a certain tier of Patreon, we should just all buy signal pistols or whatever, and just for next year we spend big and make actual have actual pistols that we shoot.
Right, and Leo's neighbors in the apartment will lose their minds. That'll be great.
I'll shoot down to them.
How would you say your name? So it's easier to tell who's saying what, right? So you buzz in when you are locked in and you would like to choose this game to play.
Yeah, I've been wanting to go by Bang Vader, if that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That works out fine.
I was going to go by Bang Hansen, so I think it works.
Can I Bang Vader as well? Is that okay? Or
yeah, absolutely, man.
Can I just?
But then Leo gets to play your games.
Can I just be Boom? Just one word like share?
Yeah, okay, everybody. Jeffem, do you have concerns about the rules of release calendar 6-shooter?
Well, yeah, you said we each have 6 shots, so you can only play 6 games, but did you mention that we can't choose the same ones? Only one person can play each game.
That's right. So it's up to you to argue why you should be the one that gets to play this game.
Yeah.
And then everybody who's not in the duel, everybody who hasn't fired a shot, they get to vote on who gets the final say in playing that game. So,
which is exactly how duels work.
I think so. It's part of the 10 Real Commandments.
There's 2 songs about it in Hamilton.
That's right.
Yeah.
So just heads up for everybody. We're going through the games that have dates on them for 2020. Then there's a second chunk of games which just say 2020, but there's no actual date on there. So keep that in mind. When we get to the end of the actual games with dates, it's not the end of the game here. So
what is that cutoff? Is it 2/3 have dates?
It's about half and half.
Okay.
Ready to ballpark it?
As we always say in this segment, let's ballpark it.
Horizon Zero Dawn comes to PC August 7th, everybody. This Friday. I'm excited to check that out. I haven't played the Frozen Wilds DLC. This seems like a good opportunity to do it.
Are you banging on that one, Hansen?
Did I say bang?
Well, then you can't say you're looking forward to playing it.
You're right.
Because you're not playing it.
I guess I'm looking forward to the idea of playing that. August 11th, Hyperscape is coming to consoles. Leo, I know you've been enjoying the Ubisoft Battle Royale on PC.
I'll bang on that one.
Really? On consoles?
Wow, really?
Okay.
You're doing that.
I went to play it like last night, and then I realized it was between being out. I thought it was out, and now it's out for real on August 11th.
So you're actually
the open beta closed on like Friday or something. So there's
it went from closed beta to public beta to closed to game.
They say every game releases 3 times, you know?
That's right. And only on the 3rd time will you know it's for real.
That's right. Microsoft Flight Simulator, August 18th. Bang! I mean, me.
Really?
Absolutely. I am so curious about that thing. Seems like there was a big round of previews. People were excited.
I would give you competition for that one if it was coming out on console, because I do think that sounds like a very interesting game.
Well, boy, do I have news for you, Jeff. I mean, they are making a console version of it, but I don't think it's coming out on that August 18th.
Yeah, which is why I'm not banging.
Okay.
To be clear.
Just because you don't own a PC?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm close to banging, but I don't think I could outplay you.
Thank you.
I'm curious to see other people bang on this, you know, like just to see clips of it on Twitter. Like, hey, here's me launching from Detroit to like Chicago, and here, like, I want to see the videos and clips from this game, and just seeing like either like wacky crashes of like, I can't believe I messed this up so bad, or like, here's just like 2 minutes of me properly landing this airplane.
Yeah, and maybe this is, a fool's errand, but I hope it's a little bit simplified. I hope there is that baby mode in the game. So like, I just like flying planes in games. If I could do that in this chill simulator where they modeled the entire Earth, that sounds awesome. I would like to play that. Great.
That's what real pilots do. Takeoff button, autopilot button, land button.
Let us be a real pilot. August 18th on PC, Rogue Legacy 2.
Oh, bang. Absolutely.
Wow. There we go. Leo's second bang.
2 shots down for Leo already.
Woo, doggy.
No duels.
Rogue Legacy is an amazing game. I'm very excited for it too.
What do you like about it?
I think it's just a great roguelite. Like, you can get through so much of it if you're good, or you can just be patient and level up enough that it's very easy to get through. So he kind of is a natural difficulty curve that way that I think works really well and makes it fun.
Yeah. Have they revealed much gameplay for Rogue Legacy 2? I know it's just been a teaser for a while.
I haven't seen much.
But it's just on that name alone. You're in.
Yeah, pure trust.
Nice. Speaking of pure trust when it comes to brands, August 20th, we'll see the release of Battletoads, everybody. Kyle?
We all said it so loud it clipped out the mics and it didn't pick up.
Yeah.
We all cut out audio at the same time.
Kyle, I know, I can feel in your heart of hearts you're curious about Battletoads.
Yes, but unlike you in Flight Simulator, curiosity is not enough for me to pull a trigger.
Okay. Wow. That's a good, wise lesson for life.
A wise man once said.
August 25th, No Straight Roads.
What is it?
Now, this is the action platformer that we played on the Great Goaty Hunt. I think it was just Jeffem and I.
The what?
The what?
You played on the what?
The Great Goaty Hunt?
Oh, okay.
That's shot you've been running? Where, yes, it's all music themed. It's about toppling an EDM empire, I believe. You gotta save rock and roll from EDM taking over your city. It's directed by the lead designer for Final Fantasy 15. Like, after that project...
That's the plot of Trolls World Tour.
Oh, crap. I'm sorry. Did I mispronounce that? It is the Trolls World Tour video game. But, yeah, Final Fantasy 15's lead designer, Haas, after he finished that project, he moved back to Malaysia. And it's an interesting story. We interviewed him on the Game Informer show. And he had the story of that Malaysia does a lot of outsourcing for other companies. Like, From Software needs assets. They'll be like, okay, Malaysian developers, can you help us out? And so he was really proud of the idea, like, hey, I'm going to try and build up a talented development team because there's a lot of development chops just from doing so much outsource work for the rest of the world. And then, so there's a lot of Malaysian pride in No Straight Roads. So I'm very curious about it.
It does look cool.
I don't
There's a really good trailer out there for it.
But will you bang?
Oh, well,
No.
I'm not going to bang on that one. only because we played the demo for the Great Goaty Hunt, and everybody knows that first boss is impossible.
That's right.
So, yeah. All right, August 27th. Look alive, Leo Vader. Tom Clancy's Elite Squad on iOS and Android. The return of Sam Fisher.
I went to draw my gun, but it flipped out of my holster and fell on the ground.
Understandable. August 27th, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered is coming to PS4 and Switch, which I've always wanted to try that game. This is the time to do it, but I think there's going to be a couple other things to play, so I will keep my gun in the holster for this one. Although I know that Charles, friend of the show, from the Deepest Dive on The Last of Us Part 2, is screaming right now about how excited he is for this remaster.
And Hanson, I assume you're taking notes on who gets what game?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Couldn't hurt if you wanted to write it down yourself, though. Sure. August 28th, Madden NFL 21. August 29th or 28th as well. Project Cars 3. Also, August 28th, Wasteland 3. I didn't know that Wasteland 3 was coming out on PS4 because it's In Exile, who's owned by Microsoft at this point. Is that right, Leo?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm curious to see how that thing does overall. Now, here we go, Leo. Are you ready?
Okay.
Finger in the pocket, however you get ready to draw a gun. On September 1st, Hitman comes to Stadia. And he sits quietly back down.
I'll let you live.
Could I interest you in Hitman 2 coming to Stadia?
Okay, now you have attention.
No, it's Hitman 2. Okay, anyways, September 1st, also, a game coming out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC, Iron Harvest, which is an RTS set in like an alternate version of the 1920s. I don't know about that console version, but I'm happy a new RTS is coming out in 2020, and I would like to take a look at it. But obviously from a distance, because I can't seal that deal. September 4th, Marvel's Avengers. One of the biggest games so far for this year.
Highest anticipated.
Are any of us in the beta?
I'll bang it.
Really?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm more curious than any. I'm so curious about what that game is because I still, after all of their streams and all of their like preview stuff, I don't know what that game. I don't know how that game is structured. I don't know how they're planning to like deliver both on the promise of like, oh, this is the Avenger, like the high budget Avengers game you wanted, and also it's a Destiny. So it's more out of like. I just want to know what this game is more than like, I can't wait to play as all my favorite Avengers and get, the plasma gauntlets or whatever from Iron Man that'll be, 26 power gear versus 25. Like, I don't know that I'm crazy excited about that part, but
yeah,
I need to know what the game is.
I hear
using a bullet to take a bullet.
That's right.
What platform?
Oh gosh, that's a good point. Cause I was like 100% just like, I'm going to play on PC, but Spider-Man's a PS4 exclusive. So gosh, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'll have to go. Like if they have a PS5 upgrade, I would love that, so I could just play with a better frame rate and stuff. But
yeah,
well, it is coming to PS5, but I don't think it's like smart.
Like a free
delivery,
upgrade, right? So how does this game account for smart delivery?
I don't know. I mean,
you already banged it, Serial. Don't worry about it.
Okay, well, okay.
I'll
worry about
to bang on it. Spider-Man. I think maybe we'll talk about this more in questions, Hanson. But like Spider-Man's enough for me to like make that decision.
Really?
Like I would go PlayStation just to have Spider-Man. Yeah.
By the way, it is a free upgrade to PS5. So everybody's screaming.
Oh, good.
You should be satiated. There are a bunch of previews that just went out. We didn't get a chance to play it. There's going to be, if you pre-order the game, I think you get to play it this coming weekend. And then the following weekend, I think is going to be a public beta. But it seems like, you know how you're confused about what that game is, Serial? It seems like people who got to play it for several hours are still a little bit in that camp of, what a weird structure. What is this thing? Very curious to see how it does. September 4th, NBA 2K21.
Dunk.
Also, September 4th, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yeah, bang on that one.
We got a bang from Leo. Is anybody else interested?
Come on, try it.
I'm borderline.
I'll throw a bang out there.
Yeah.
But like I think Leo's winning this duel.
Yeah.
There are only a few games I've ascribed my identity to. So I think there are a lot of assumed victories that might happen.
And
here.
I just like that Goldfinger song. So like, I don't know if that's enough.
Leo.
Well, you can also listen to that song on Spotify, Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay. I'm good then.
It's that odd thing, Leo, where you are a bit of a thug man, a bit of a Tony Hawk Underground man. Do you go back to those original games? Are you fond of 1 and 2, or is that just some prehistoric era for you?
Definitely. I mean, I like 3 and 4 both more. Like,
Yeah,
if
same.
they
I like 4 a
released
lot.
those as remakes, I would be more excited about that. But I mean, 2 is an absolute classic. If they hadn't made any more, it'd be my favorite one.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, I think they're also like back adding a bunch of the features from 3 and 4 when it comes to gameplay into the first ones, right? So it's not like a total like, we're honoring the legend of the first 2 games by not having, manual reboots or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the big innovation for 4 to me was always that like you didn't have to leave the level. Like that always bummed me out that you'd have to leave every 2 minutes. Like that was why 4 had always been my favorite. Just because you could just sort of skate around and talk to whoever to start the missions and stuff like that. Which that element's not going to be in the remake, I don't think.
Yeah. September 8th, Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. The big remaster of Kingdoms of Amalur. Okay.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it again, though, probably.
I think that's fair.
It'll get DLC at some point, which is weird.
Oh, yeah. What about September 18th, WWE 2K Battlegrounds? The
cute arcadey one?
The cute arcadey one.
Can I reach over and pull Surreal's trigger just so he has to take that one?
Yeah. If I hear a
Why?
bang, I hear a bang.
No, I'm
Dang.
muting myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're shooting yourself after seeing the trailer for WWE 2K Battlegrounds. I understand. September 25th, the Mafia Definitive Edition, the remaster of Mafia 1.
I'll bang on that.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I like Mafia 2 more than I think most people in that. I really appreciate it. It's like I think it was
Mafia 2 a lot.
Okay, then fired. I do it then. No, I'm just
trying to help support your argument. I think Mafia 2 is a cool game. I like that game.
No, I think a lot of people appropriately like kind of lambasted it for being an open world game without a lot of stuff like open world stuff in it, and I totally get that. But as like someone who just said I'm just going to do the main missions, I felt it was a better game for that than it was as an open world game. So I'm kind of curious to go back to the first game and see, like what is it about this game that spawned, like a bunch of sequels. Like I've never played and heard a lot. Like you don't hear a lot about the original Mafia other than like when the new games come out.
It's the PC crowd. Yeah.
Here's my tweet about my history with Mafia is like how I hear about Mafia mostly when people talk about the game. So like I'm curious to see like what is it about this first game that people really liked.
Yeah, and this is getting a more of a remake treatment. It's not just a remaster. It seems like they're rebuilding a lot from the ground up, which is cool to see.
Very pretty.
I think Mafia 2 is like a remaster, or where they're just like, hey, we're updating all the assets, and Mafia 3 is basically like, hey, it's available in a definitive edition versus any actual work put into. Well, like not that they didn't put work in, but like it's not an overhaul.
Right. Hey, you know what happens on October 2nd? It's about time, ladies and gentlemen. Crash Bandicoot 4! Woo! Bang, 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 bang.
So you just fired all of your shots?
Oh, crap.
Fan the hammer?
No, I shot it, and then I went and I found the bullet, and I loaded it back in. So I just reused it.
Okay.
Okay, see, now remembering your cadence of the bangs, I totally see how that fits.
It was edited.
I mean, that's on my like potential list that I put together. Like, I want to play that, but
bang on it, coward.
I'm not going to fire off my gun though.
Thank you. I am really excited about this game. I enjoyed playing the remaster of Crash 1 through 3, and if it's just a pretty conservative new Crash Bandicoot game that I can listen to podcasts and play through, that sounds delightful.
What about Crash's quips?
I'll pause it for every quip. Usually they give a little heads up when I know that a hot quip is on its way.
Okay, Nate, recite a Bandicoot quip.
Uh-oh.
That's Scooby-Doo.
That classic line.
Oh, crap. Okay, what about October 2nd? Star Wars Squadrons.
Oh.
I'll bang that one.
Leo,
I want to bang that one.
This is taking a turn.
I don't mean that. Every time I say it, I regret it. I'm sorry.
How many of you banged so far, Leo?
This would be my fourth. This would be
good
Leo's
Lord.
fourth bang and first one in the Star Wars franchise.
Oh yeah, you're not a big Star Wars guy in general, right? I mean,
yeah, I'm really excited for the VR in this one. VR multiplayer with my VR crew that has been getting together like every other week to play VR chat in quarantine. I would love for us to have a team like tactical coordinating multiplayer thing to do in VR.
And honestly,
that's really exciting to me.
Be honest, Leo. Raise your right hand. Will you play a round of Star Wars Squadrons where you just come up with code names for everybody? So it's like Red 5, Red 3, and you're actually role playing this round.
Absolutely.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I can't compete with that.
I'm sorry, Jeff, we're giving Leo
Give it to Leo.
the honor of Star Wars Squadrons, October 2nd. Did you play that Battlefront VR mission? Because in the first Battlefront, they had one X-Wing like little campaign that was all in VR. It was surprisingly cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a neat thing. I'm looking forward to that. I'm worried it's going to make me very nauseated as I play it, but I think that gameplay looked a lot cooler than I expected. Mm-hmm. October 30th. Oh, hang on, we're not quite there yet. Save that.
No, you're not.
October 23rd. Here we go, Leo. Edge of your seat. Transformers Battlegrounds.
I don't even know what genre that is yet, too.
Is that in the same genre as the WW2K Battlegrounds? Is that in the Battlegrounds genre?
It's the shared Battlegrounds universe, yes. Also
with PlayerUnknown?
PS5 game. Yep, PlayerUnknown is the god. Also, October 29th, Watch Dogs Legion.
Bang.
No one can dethrone you on Watch Dogs Legion, Leo.
No.
Oh my god.
It's all yours, baby.
It is the only thing.
I really want to play that game, but
sorry.
Yeah.
Is there anything you're worried about, Leo, with Watch Dogs Legion? Is it just, do you feel like you know what you're getting at this point and you're all on board?
Mostly. I mean, the concern is that after 10 hours, I will have seen every configuration of person. Like every possible character that game can generate. That's my only concern. As far as like whether the story's good, I don't really care. It's about the emergent stories that'll be happening.
Yeah.
And co-op is still a big question mark right now. But I mean, if it's like it was in Watch Dogs 2, where it's like free roam with some specific co-op missions, except you can all be any NPC from your Legion.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Awesome. October 30th, Dark Pictures anthology, Little Hope.
It's on my list. I was kind of disappointed by the first Dark Pictures. Man of Medan didn't really do much for me, but the sort of setting of Little Hope looks a little more interesting.
And what is the setting?
It's like a small town, kind of like you find this like town off the sort of the beaten path. Like you get stuck in this like little town. It just looks creepier. I don't know, being on a boat in the middle of the ocean. I don't know why. I just was like totally uninterested in being there. It's such a weird thing. I don't know why.
I'd rather be at my house.
I think it's just because it was like too separate from the world or something. I don't know. When it comes to horror games, like even Until Dawn, I liked the idea that it's like there's some weird stuff happening here, like not too far from society, but like a boat in the middle of the ocean. It's like I also feel like I don't know. It just didn't work for me. It's so weird.
It's harder to relate in the like, oh, this could happen to me sense when it's like I'm not going to be caught dead out in the ocean, so like I have nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah,
that might be it. I don't know.
Even like Resident Evil Revelations, not your cup of tea.
I do like it, but I like the sequel on land better.
Questions later.
Oh, interesting, Kyle.
As a game that took me way too long to get through.
There we go. Also, October 30th. Pikmin 3 Deluxe just announced a new version of Pikmin 3 coming to the Nintendo Switch.
I have it on Wii U, so I recuse myself of banging.
Yeah, I already played it. So
yeah, I haven't finished it. God, how many of these are left? Leo or Jeff, what are you saving yours for? Leo's has one shot left, but
yeah,
I don't know. Once Leo's out of shots, maybe I'll get one. We have too much crossover, but Leo loves every game so much that I can't take that joy away from him.
Right? Aww. Okay.
I can't break Leo.
All right. Well, Jeff, I mean, if you want a free shot, you should check out November 6th, Paw Patrol. Mighty Pup Save Adventure Bay, coming to PS4, Xbox, and Switch, and PC.
Spoilers.
Now, does it come with a dog?
I heard from the White House that Paw Patrol had been canceled.
It has not been canceled, Kyle.
Okay, good.
Incorrect.
So wait, though, they were making things up, you're saying, during that White House press
All right,
conference?
buddy. Let's move on. Didn't expect this to get political. November 10th, Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Isn't
that the 11th?
By the way, thanks to Game Informer for compiling this list.
That's November 10th. From. Okay. I will Suriel. Bang. I think that's the one proper use of it, because I think we were supposed to say our names, but we've all just been saying, I suppose I will bang.
I think we've just all been saying Leo's name for him, just because we know his.
Right. Suriel, it scared me, chilled me to my core when you took your time before you yelled bang / your name for Destiny 2 Beyond Light. Is that representative of anything?
What are you guys gonna do? Like, you guys aren't gonna play this. I was like laxative. I was already on. I could get used to this mode. No, This is 100%. This is like 100% going to be my PS5 launch game that I will play for the rest of the year, because that is the thing. The number one thing I'm excited for this year is Destiny 2 with better load times and frame rate.
Okay, there we go.
Like, they have new ice powers that let you build platforms that will probably break some encounters in these really fun ways.
That sounds great. That sounds great. November 10th, the remake of 13's coming out. That old David Duchovny joint.
Oh, David Duchovny's in that? That's funny.
Yeah.
The director, right?
That's right.
Lead developer, programmer.
Yep.
That Area 51. He was like going really hard on video games for a minute there.
A certain style.
And now Skully, right?
That's right.
Is he in Skully?
November 13th.
Leo.
We're picking up what you're putting down. November 13th, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Uriel.
Ben.
Oh.
You're not taking that from Suriel.
Like hell, I'm not.
Suriel,
how many...
that seems like way more Hansen's jam in terms of being turn-based and stuff like that, like compared to other Yakuza games.
I've also played all the other ones, and I'm really excited because of that RPG combat. Like, I wasn't like a huge, like... I didn't hate it, but I didn't like the brawl, like the kind of brawler gameplay, because that got really old, and all the bosses were like, "What if you actually had to pay attention during this gameplay?" And it wouldn't turn out super well. But like, I love everything they're doing. Like, they're just replacing Kiryu as just kind of letting him kind of have his story, and then making this like kind of protagonist be super nerdy, and tying in the combat to that, and like the summons that come from your phone. All that stuff is like. I'm more on board than I think a lot of people are, who were maybe disappointed that, I don't know about the JRPG combat or whatever. It takes place in a new city for once, because like, Kamurocho was like a really cool location that you got to know. But, moving it to another city is like a pretty major decision for that series. So I'm really excited. I don't want
to point fingers, Cyril, or anything, but I believe at the start of the year, when we had our top 5 most anticipated games of 2020, Yakuza Like a Dragon was on there for me, and I don't believe it was on there for you.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was.
Exactly my point. I don't recall if it was on there for you.
I'm pretty sure it was on. I'm pretty sure it was
Dragon Quest references. I mean,
that's true.
Over your head.
I have played more Dragon
I can't imagine they'll be that obscure. I'll see a slime. It's like, that's Dragon Quest. I don't think they're going to be like.
As someone who watched the Dragon Quest V film this year along with Kyle, I feel like I'm going to pick up on a lot more than you are.
I also watched that movie though.
Dang it! That's right.
Hansen's raising a great question. Is it okay to lie in your arguments for your game?
Suriel, I have a Like a Dragon tattoo on my back right now. I need to play this game.
I told you where my Like a Dragon tattoo was. We would have to censor this podcast.
I feel like I'm raring to go. I've dabbled with Yakuza 0 and 6. I've wanted to like the series. I feel like this is the entry point. I'm coming in fresh. You're winded. You've played Yakuza games. You're breathing heavy on the side of the road. I am getting out of my car. I'm stretching, and I'm looking the series in the face and saying, it's my time to shine.
I have played all of the games since 0, and I have basically loved all of them. Like, the only one that I didn't super fall in love with was Judgment, and that felt like, this feels like what Judgment should have been. Is like, hey, let's take a new approach to this series. Let's totally just like upend a lot of what people have come to expect from this series. And like, if we're gonna talk about it on this show, I feel like I would be better prepared to talk about it.
Ooh.
Okay. I think we said all we can. Leo, and we'll go down the line here. Everybody who's not in the bang off. Leo, who would you give it to?
I'm conflicted. I think Suriel made a great argument, but I want to give it to the less experienced Yakuza player, because I am most curious if it will win over new players. So Hansen.
Jeffem?
Do Kyle first.
Kyle?
No, I don't want to go.
Are you just gonna be the tiebreaker? Or are you just like, I don't know, whoever's winning? I don't know.
So Serial, I'm gonna go Serial because he's the long-term fan who's invested. You're not invested, Hansen.
That could be.
You're just gonna dabble. You might not even stick it out to the end. You might just be like, I don't know, it's not for me.
Dare
Serial,
you?
he's
You
not
don't
starting
know
this
how
game
I
without
play
finishing it.
games, Kyle. I'm a committed man when it comes to every game I start.
Yeah, someone who's finished Death Stranding would know.
Jeffem, who are you giving it to?
This is the kind of power I wanted.
Sick F.
This is like the equivalent of
Played
betting $1.
right into my hand. Since it's a tie, I'm just going to take it for myself. How about that?
Wait, now they have to re-argue.
All right. Serial has never made a joke about me not finishing Red Dead, so he gets it.
What?
Never?
What? Take the arguments on the
Never
actual
done it.
beats. Not some...
Hey, I'm the judge, dude.
Oh, this is a kangaroo court if I've ever seen one. All right, Serial.
Jeffem's blatant
I think
disrespect
the
for
court
this
made a
game.
great decision. I think I respect it. I'm glad that justice was carried out today. I'm very happy with the result that I got today. Thanks everybody who supported me.
I'm going to light myself on fire outside the courthouse. All right, November 17th, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Bang! Kyle, bang!
I'll
Kyle.
also bang.
All right.
See, there's the buzzer aspect that doesn't matter. Is the thing is like no one like how fast you bang has nothing to do with the game.
It factors in my judgment at the end for who I get.
That's a good
Yeah, I like
point.
the idea of me buzzing in as quickly as possible, and Jeffem just kind of walking up and being like,
Your Honor, me first. Your Honor, me first.
Jeffem, why are you looking forward to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and why would you like to deprive Kyle of the experience of playing it?
yeah.
I don't have any other games yet that I'm excited for, and
This is a compelling case.
I like Assassin's Creed.
The court will find in
Hey, I'm
favor of
in
you
the
out
same
of
boat.
pity.
I haven't banged a single game.
You haven't?
No.
Oh.
Hey, Kyle, how about you give me this one and I'll give you Halo Infinite.
He wouldn't be able to argue his way for Halo Infinite.
Yeah, I think. Well, here, I guess my case is I used to really like Assassin's Creed. Played the first 4. I haven't. Every single one, starting with Black Flag, has I've fallen off of after an hour or two. But Ghost of Tsushima really lit this weird fire under me where I want to play more open world. After having stepped away from Assassin's Creed for so long, I'm excited to get back to it with Valhalla.
Yeah, and Jeffem, you just need something to play?
No, I've played every single Assassin's Creed 2, but have also fallen off of them. But I've played more of each one than Kyle did, and that's why I'm so excited to play this one now.
This series more often.
Is that it? Closing arguments?
Yes, and also you guys are going to give Kyle Halo anyway when I bang against him on that one. So please, show me some mercy here.
We can't make assumptions about the future based
right.
on this single encounter.
With this duel, we live in the moment. Boy. Jeffem, I just wish you wouldn't have banged me out of Yakuza like that. I don't know what a judge is to do in this situation.
Well, I had to put one of you in my pocket, so I got the Serial vote, obviously.
Hang on, this is dirty.
Serial.
So maybe it comes down to Leo, I guess. Well, assuming what you guys are going to vote, I guess I should make a vote.
I think I will go on the track record of Kyle getting through Ghost so quickly this year. Clearly, he has the appetite for playing an open world game. Jeffem has been acting like he's been full on open world games since 2018, I'd argue, when a great open world came out, and he said, "Oh, no room for me, please." So I will deign this. My vote goes to Kyle. Leo, where are you at?
You and Jeffem are in a real revenge cycle with this Red Dead Redemption 2 thing. I found Kyle's argument more persuasive.
Oh,
Give it to Kyle.
and then Serial. It don't matter, but you should still say it.
Sure. I mean, Kyle makes a lot of compelling points, but I think at this point in the election cycle, I think my delegates are already accounted for, and I will have to give them to Jeffrey Markieff.
But it doesn't matter. Kyle, congratulations. You got Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No hard feelings. This is just the way it goes. I did obviously the votes didn't count, so I just I figured I.
Yeah, I'm not counting that for your clutch vote for me, Serial. You're going to have to.
That's not what we agreed to.
November 17th, an indie RPG comes out called Kris Tales. I will bang for that one. I'll yell my name out. Kris Tales, we talked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago. I forget exactly when that was. There's a free demo on Steam. There was a free demo on Xbox as well. It is very Paper Mario inspired. The art is incredibly beautiful. It plays with time, where it's actually splitting the screen and you can see the past, present, and future. And then as you walk, it transitions between those three. I think it's a really, really great look. I'm looking forward to playing it on Switch as well. This year between Kris Tales and then Bug Fables, which is another Paper Mario clone, say that with affection, that came out on PC last year. I started it and it seemed cool. Also came to Switch this year. It seems like a good year for Paper Mario style RPGs on the Switch. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It also, the style is great, and the combat UI reminds me of Persona. So if you love that very specific thing about Persona, you can check it out in Kris Tales. So yeah, I'm locked in for that one. Let's see, where are we at? How many shots does everybody have left?
I have 5. Kyle has 5.
Yeah, I think I've only hit 3. So I'm at 3 shots left. Okay, so 1 shot left for Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Don't throw it away.
That's right. Jeff, where are you sitting?
I have all my bullets because you guys won't give me any games.
Great. And Serial?
I think I have 2.
You do have 2 left. Yes, Serial.
Okay.
Yes, Serial, correct. I feel like I'm missing one. Okay, I guess I only have 3. Here we go. November 19th. This is one of the biggest weeks of the year. Probably the week that a console's dropping. I would guess Xbox out of the blue. Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm going to bang on that one, obviously.
It's, I think, interesting that probably the most anticipated game of the year, and no one else is jumping in that fray?
Well, I'm strategically not banging on this one.
Okay.
Due to prior commitments that have been made outside of this venue.
Oh, I see how it goes. Jeff, are you really looking forward to Cyberpunk?
Yeah, I think that's probably my most anticipated left game for this year.
Yeah.
Of what is left this year? Yeah.
I forget, are you a Deus Ex guy?
Some. But I mean, I really like the kind of cyberpunk future city aesthetic, not necessarily because of Deus Ex specifically.
Yeah.
But gameplay wise, that kind of cross between immersive sim, but also super deep RPG that CD Projekt Red is known for seems really appealing to me.
Yeah.
It's also one that I have absolutely no idea how it's going to turn out and if it can live up to, what everyone's hoping it's going to be, but
yeah, it's hard to kind of see where that game is going to shine, because I think I don't think a lot of people had huge expectations out of Witcher 3, and I think what the stuff about the Witcher 3 that I love was the writing and how well they were able to execute on all of their one-off premises for quests and stuff, and that's not something you can you can get a very good idea on during preview stuff where they kind of just show you the one quest. It was both the amount and the quality of the writing that was throughout that entire game that I think is what made it, the breakout hit that it was. So it's hard to know what that game is, how that game is going to live up to that specific part of it.
Yeah. This is so anecdotal, but I'm just fascinated by how huge of an audience this game potentially has. My girlfriend's little brother was just like, oh my God, I cannot wait for Cyberpunk. I'm like, oh yeah, you're a big Witcher fan? He's like, no, but CD Projekt Red is the best. It's just common internet wisdom, They're just yes, this is the great team, and they're releasing this huge game. And now with that added bonus of probably launching around the time of the new consoles, having this huge game to experience a new console with is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I think it that also speaks to how successful, how much of a breakout hit the Witcher 3 was, because it's, CD Projekt Red had been making Witchers up until then, right? And
yeah.
But the fact that they've gone from Witcher 3 was just okay, they're making their game open world too, so I guess we'll keep an eye on it. But these guys have secretly made some great games to where now Cyberpunk is at the highest possible tier of video game release at this point, up there with stuff like The Last of Us and like a lot of like the Sony first party stuff. I think it speaks
passing
to how,
the Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. It's just wild.
Yeah, and yet still so crazy different for them in terms of just what the core gameplay is going to look like as compared to sword play, fantasy style stuff. Yeah.
So that is,
I guess my also not knowing about it is part of why I'm so excited to check it out as well.
Yeah. Well, hey,
it's not a slam
I'm
dunk.
kind of intimidated by it. Like, it's one of the reasons I don't put my hand up is because it just seems so complicated and big that I'm just kind of scared of it,
And you earlier said you weren't looking for like large open world games to explore.
Yeah, no.
That's good to know.
I want to hit stuff with axes and swords.
Hey, after that, we have a December release, ambiguous December, of Outriders, the upcoming game from People Can Fly. Square Enix publishing this one. Yes, Leo?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Not for my last bullet, but it'll be fun. It's a lot like Remnant, but with crazier powers. Remnant from the Ashes.
Oh, really? Oh, I haven't heard that comparison before. That's interesting. 3-player co-op is the big pitch here. I was fascinated by, I think it was last week, People Can Fly made that odd announcement where they just had a tweet or statement about, hey, we're making another next-gen game. And I think they were hiring for it, but it's always that odd thing of like, like before Outriders is released, they're already promoting their next game. Should I be worried about that? Or is it just a necessity of they needed to hire people for this new studio?
Well, it was part of the pitch for Outriders when we went on the cover trip for Game Informer, was like, this is a contained experience. Like, we'll support it, but it's not going to be a last your whole life game. Like, it's going to be 40 hours out of the box that you won't feel pressure to pay anything else for.
Oh, really? Because I think, just that co-op angle, I think it kind of implies it's going to be more of a living game experience, but not so much.
I think it's a bit more story-based than maybe people are expecting.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That actually makes me more interested.
Oh. Taking the gun out of your holster, interested?
No.
Okay. Also...
You're going to have bullets left over, pal.
I've got my list here.
Okay. Also in December, ambiguous December, oh, so sweet ambiguous December, is The Medium, which is the horror game from the Bloober team.
I'll bang that one.
There we go. This is the one where you're shifting between different dimensions. Team Silent Hill inspired. They have Silent Hill's composer working on it. Jeffem, are you a big horror guy? Why are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, I like horror games. I've just never been as big on the Resident Evil series, although I just played 2 and 3. But
yeah,
and Dead Space was too scary for me. But I have always enjoyed the horror series. I especially liked Silent Hill 2, and that kind of switching between dual world puzzle stuff all sounded cool. So.
Yeah, it's a cool pitch. It'll be fun to see on the Series X there. All right, now we're getting into mysterious, ambiguous 2020. Things that are set for 2020, but without anything
just
locked
now
in.
Getting into it? I feel like we've been in it the whole time.
Well,
mysterious and ambiguous 2020, I think, is a pretty good descriptor.
All right, here we go. So, still planned for 2020 is 12 minutes.
Oh.
This is the game about the time loop where you're in an apartment, I believe, with your wife. The cops are barging down the door. You're replaying it again and again. It seems very interesting. It's coming out on Xbox and PC.
Hold on, Leo, you okay there?
Leo, you got one shot, kid.
I know. I don't know what else is going to be on this list. And I've only got one shot left, and I think that does look really interesting.
I'm kind of bored. If I hadn't used... I think I'm regretting my Mafia shot now because I think I have two or three other games that I think... Looking at a list of unreleased games this year that I probably should have saved my bullets for.
Interesting. Okay. I'm interested in this one too. I don't know if I'm going to pull that trigger.
Can't do it.
I will. Okay.
No,
insofar as this is all like a way for us to talk about upcoming games, I think that game does look really rad.
Yeah.
I think that game looks really interesting. And I like the idea of like, here's this very hyper condensed scenario where we've basically iterated on how many permutations you can get out of this one scenario versus like, oh, we have a sprawling world that you can like do the same thing over and over again in.
Yeah.
I like them kind of inverting that dynamic. For sure.
You know what? Bang. I'm shooting it. I'd like to play 12 minutes. Let's lock this sucker in. I'm coming for you, buddy. All right. Airborne Kingdom is due out this year as well. This is from former Visceral developers. I have a feeling if you want to learn more about the game, you can stay tuned for an interview from MinnMax early next week, which is a very, very, very interesting interview, so please enjoy that. But Airborne Kingdom, it is a city building sim with a heavy exploration focus, and they're flying cities. I don't know if you've seen this, Jeff, but it's a very cool look. It's a little Mortal Engine, the Peter Jackson thing, where it's like this convoluted, huge flying city that you're expanding, and there's RPG quests and stuff like that. It looks very cool. But okay, that's fine.
That's cool.
Also, still planning on releasing in 2020. Compiling this list just made me realize how many big things Nintendo has not locked in yet. It almost feels like there should have been Nintendo Direct by now, and it's just missing.
I mean, they can just tweet out announcents. That's also good.
That
right?
also
they
works.
Can just tweet out the Pikmin 3 release date.
For them.
Yeah. We have Axiom Verge 2 coming out on
Kyle.
Switch. There's Kyle. All right. This is the Metroidvania game that... Was it snow? Was that like the big difference here for the second one, or what stands out for you so far for what they've shown?
I think they also have like a graphical update. Like it just looks like a more modern game versus the original, which was like very close to Metroid or Super Metroid in terms of look and snow.
It's weird for me. Like, I didn't beat or play much of the original Axiom Verge. It's one that's like always on my it's on my backlog. I bought it when it was on sale on Switch even recently as another like intention to like I'm going to play this because I know I would like it. But this to me, the sequel coming out feels like a way that I can just like play the new hot Axiom Verge that everyone is excited about and not lose momentum because I am stupid and have a problem playing old games. So like I'm just in a weird way, like this is like my chance to jump into the Axiom Verge universe that I'm really excited about.
Yeah,
I think Axiom Verge is probably like my favorite like Metroidvania-esque game in terms of like games that riffed on the originals. Because I think they're both the most. It's both the most dedicated to like. No, this is not like a Metroidvania game. This is like a Metroid game. This is another Metroid game, and they did like some really like interesting things with that premise in terms of like. Here's the way we've hidden our secrets based on the knowledge of what you know about video games. Like there are things that it's like, oh, you have to glitch through this area with using a glitch gun because you can kind of make out like, oh, that's the fact that this tile looks like this is a thing I only know from playing video games. And they exploit kind of that knowledge to hide some of the secrets, which is really cool.
Yeah. Joe always give it to Serial, and I still haven't.
I didn't even bank for it.
Wow.
Nice, sorry.
I'm alone, right? Did anyone else?
You're alone, man. Take it. Axiom Verge 2 is yours. Coming out on PlayStation 4 and PC, they say in 2020, Babylon's Fall, which is the Platinum Square RPG that we have not heard about in quite a while. I am very skeptical that this is hitting 2020.
Yeah, that game's not coming out this year.
I would not think so.
You shoot, you'll miss.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this is ambiguous, but they say loose August, Baldur's Gate 3, coming out on Stadia and PC. Early access out of the gate for Baldur's Gate 3. Huge franchise. Oh, Leo, did you check out Divinity Original Sin 2? Anything else from the developer?
Yeah, just Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 is all I've really played from them. But from everything I've seen in Baldur's Gate 3, it's kind of like that middle ground between those top-down CRPGs and like a Dragon Age-y, point of view,
right?
Cutscene style conversations and things. It's like a little more bigger budget, I guess I would say. Yeah,
and trying to think of where that fits in your taste, because you love systems, you love tiny details, and it seems like that's what those games are. But then I don't see you as a much more kind of a Western RPG guy. But is that also in your wheelhouse a little bit?
Yeah, and the Dungeons and Dragons-ness of it, the sheer amount of things you can do, and the specific characters that can do specific things that you wouldn't expect to necessarily be able to do in a video game. That's always interesting. But I mean, I've never beaten one of those games. It's not my favorite. I'm just always curious to dabble.
Sure. And you're not shooting.
I'm not shooting.
Ooh.
I don't know what I'm saving this last bullet for, but I think I'll know when I see it.
All right, Leo, I think you might want to shoot. Moving on slowly. Biomutant, they still say, is coming out in 2020 on PS4, Xbox One, PC. Wow, Kyle, there we go. You've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Yeah, that's a game that honestly, like, it could come out and we play it and we're like, oh, this didn't come together. But like everything I've seen about it just looks so weird and fascinating, and I like the world that they've established. I like that you're like playing as this anthropomorphic animal. I don't know. It just seems like a really. I'm fascinated by it. It looks really cool. I feel like we don't see these kind of games anymore, where it's like an unknown developer just appears and has this like big game. Like it's just such a rare thing these days that I want to see if it still works. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one.
Oh, great. Bravely Default 2 coming to the Switch. Jeffem, I know you played the first one.
Yep. I did.
Jeffem, you're Jeffem.
Yeah, Jeffem. Jeffem, you have like 300 bullets in your pockets.
Yeah, I don't want to play Bravely Default 2.
Okay, all right. Coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4, Bugsnax.
I'll bang that one.
All right, there we go. The hottest meme on the internet, and Jeffem's going to actually figure out what's going on there. What has captured your imagination?
That your first game, Jeffem?
You got Cyberpunk.
Oh, that's right, Cyberpunk. Okay,
and the medium.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's true.
I forgot.
What is it about Bugsnax that's caught your eye, Jeffem?
It's cute and silly. In terms of like indie games, I would prefer just the weirdest kind of indie games that you can get. Like there's no sense in an indie developer trying to just mimic what AAA studios are doing, but not being able to do them as well. Like you might as well be weird alien bug things that you're eating and be totally goofy with it.
Yeah.
Like Octodad. So
there we go. It'll be fun to play on PS5 too. This is an odd one that I forgot about. Remember that they're remaking Commander Keen for mobile devices?
I thought that was canceled.
They canceled that?
They did?
So they haven't officially canceled it, but all references to it have been removed from Bethesda's website.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
So I don't think that game exists. I think that game's not coming out.
A vigilante destroyed the files.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually sent an email to Bethesda to try and get a confirmation of like a month or so ago. I never heard anything back, which I don't know if that's more evidence or less evidence. I'm not sure, but
yeah. Crossfire X coming to Xbox Series X and Xbox One. This is the Chinese very popular multiplayer shooter that Remedy has made a single player campaign for. Bunch of Remedy heads here.
This includes the campaign, because I am interested in that. Like a Remedy first-person shooter campaign sounds pretty awesome.
You should use your last bullet on that, Kyle.
Well, I have 3, so
we'll use the last one and save the other 2.
Yeah.
What games do you have, Kyle?
I have Assassin's Creed, Axiom Verge 2, and Biomutant.
Oh.
Are you taking the shot?
Wow.
No, I'm not taking the shot. I just acknowledging that game sounds cool.
All right.
I mean, honestly, the game could have been called a Remedy campaign, and that would have been enough for me. Like, I don't know anything about Crossfire. I just like Remedy games that have stories.
Yeah.
So,
well, you might get caught up in it. Dangerous Driving 2 is coming out this year.
Oh, is it going to be good?
I feel like this has been half my life has been watching Three Fields Entertainment release games and being like, is this the Burnout one? Is this the Burnout one? I mean, they're iterating a Dangerous Driving 1. They were close to that Burnout formula again with the Dangerous Driving 1. Maybe they'll get it right.
I hope so.
Okay. Disco Elysium is coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. Big port,
Jeff,
boys.
And I already played it and beat it.
Yeah.
So no one else, all right?
Jeffem, on your little Xbox One, you're not going to play Disco Elysium.
You'd like it.
Hey, you should play it, Hanson. And shut up.
I started it on PC. Hey, PS4, Xbox One, PC. They say it's coming out 2020, but boy, do I not believe it. Dying Light 2.
Didn't they say they delayed it indefinitely?
Did they?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Dead Island 2?
Oh my God.
Dying Light, I felt like, was on a pretty good track.
Oh, hang on. Serial is absolutely right.
Dying
Light 2 is delayed indefinitely.
Wow.
Oh, snap.
Oh, boy. All right. We'll delete that one off
If I
the
bang
list.
it, do I still get to play it this year?
You get to play whatever the build is right now.
It comes with
okay, I'll pass.
That's why they delayed it indefinitely. They're waiting for the Commander Keen game to finish first. So,
hey, speaking of Commander Keen, we have Empire of Sin from John Romero. Coming out on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, Mac. John Romero's strategy game seems cool. What, like 1930s Chicago? XCOM. Okay. Fall.
Sounds cool.
Game coming out fall 2020, they say, for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Fuser. This is Harmonix's rebundling of some of the drop mix tech into an oddball console rhythm experience.
That sounds like a Hanson bang.
I know. I'm watching Leo's mouth, though.
I'm watching you, big boy.
Watching me.
Yeah, I'm in. Bang. I want that. And again, even I just love the idea of having a somewhat medium to large size music rhythm game to play on a console this year. I think that'll be great. And obviously I love drop mix. I love that card game. I love that tech. I love those remixes and gamifying that a little bit more outside of that board game context. I am all in on supporting Harmonix with that thing. And
yeah, I'm glad that game's happening for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Coming on PlayStation 5 and PC also this year, the first game ever shown for the PlayStation 5, technically, Godfall. This is the one the Gearbox is publishing. It's, oh boy, they call it a looter. God, what do they call that thing? They had like their shooter looter equivalent for this.
Looter?
Scooter?
I think a looter slasher is what they're calling it there. Okay. Coming to PC this year, Hades. Bang.
I mean, I technically have played the early release, like the early access version.
But this is the only way you can play 1.0. All right.
This is one of the games that I was hesitant about, but
yeah, this is Supergiant's Games in early access now on Steam and Epic Games Store. Roguelite, where you are in the underworld in Greek mythology trying to work your way out. From what I've played, I've loved it, and I've been meaning to go back to it all year, and I still want to go back and play a lot even before it goes 1.0, because as Jacob Geller told us, that like there's a lot packed in there as of now.
Yeah, for sure.
And they managed to squeeze in more of that good Supergiant writing than you might expect in that genre.
Yeah, it definitely feels a lot more story based than I was expecting. Of just like, I'll just go in and do mindless. Like I can't listen to podcasts while playing it. Is sort of where I'm at with it. Where I thought when I was playing is I'll just do a couple runs of Hades and listen to podcasts. But like there is enough story stuff in there that I don't want to do that when I play the Hades.
Right. Coming out, we don't know when, probably November, on the Xbox Series X and Xbox One and PC, Halo Infinite.
Bang.
Bang, Kyle.
Wow.
I don't know.
Here's the thing, guys. I've played every Halo. Kyle's going to give you this big sob story about how he's the number one Halo fan and he dressed up as Master Chief for his wedding and all that stuff. I've played every Halo game since the first one, but the first couple were my favorite, and I really loved them the most. And then the other ones, I played a couple hours, but they just didn't kind of ignite that spark. And I feel like my spark has been ignited now for kind of that old school kind of Halo, and I'm really geared into it and really want to get back to that now.
The floor is yours, Kyle.
The original Halos are also my favorite. Halo 1. Played a lot. I didn't finish Halo 5. I don't know if that diminishes my...
it definitely does.
My point, but you didn't either. Or 4.
I beat all of them, I think.
It's good enough for us.
Yeah. I don't think you can prove that I didn't, is the thing.
Hold on. I'm looking up Jeffem's achievements right now.
I played on a second account, my Super Halo fan account.
Yeah.
Super Halo fan.
You're big Halo fan 69?
Yep.
Well, it's weird because like my fandom has like ebbed and flowed. Like Halo 1 and 2 were just like when those games came out, like Halo was in my top 5 favorite games of all time. But over the years, it's just only diminished. It peaked a little bit more when Reach came out, but then it has gone back down. And I'm hopeful that Infinite is like another side of the valley where it goes back up again.
See, I know that it's going to be that for me. I don't have to hope, kind of laissez-faire. Maybe I'm going to like this again, and it's going to remind me of what it was like to be a teenager again.
Yeah.
I'm all in, guys.
Yeah.
Plus, it would be really funny. It would be really funny if you gave it to me and you ruined Kyle's list.
Well, I didn't like that last beat so much, but it seems like you both have the exact same argument of Halo used to be really important to me. But
Who hated the new ones the most?
I think I got
Oh, I barely played Halo 5. I don't even have it on my hard drive anymore.
I would never look at Halo 5.
I think I'm giving this one to Jeffem personally. He gets my vote. He's got that gusto.
Come on, guys. Come on, Serial.
Him. I'll live.
Oh, see, he's giving up, guys.
We're not even done voting. Why did I already throw my hat in? Dang it.
Yeah, does that count?
Wait, no,
he's
guys,
already rationalizing his loss, guys. Come on.
Remember what I said? I liked the story because it seemed like Master Chief was not cool guy. He used to be cool guy. Now he's not cool guy.
Serial, make the call.
Making a good case. Well, Leo hasn't voted yet, right?
No.
I'm waiting for you.
Oh, I see how it is. I'm going to give it to Kyle just to keep things interesting.
Oh, come on, Serial. After I gave you... Okay, I gave you Yakuza to
Jeff, you really convinced me of your argument of, wouldn't it be funny if I did this? So I think that's the argument I'm employing.
Leo, son.
You know, I was persuaded by Jeffem's spark igniting speech, but then it got very personal, and now I'm not so sure. But
Leo, I'll vote for you for whatever else you want, dude.
You took Halo Easter egg.
You took Watch Dogs from me, Leo. I didn't even try and contest it.
Well, then did I take it from you? Is the question.
Yeah, you still did.
Conundrum of
you
all.
still did, Leo.
The entire case hinges on this argument.
Leo, bang
Just
that
be
gavel,
nice
bro.
to me, Leo. Come on. We played Fallout Guys the other day. We had such a good time together.
Wait, what was the name of that
I don't
game?
even know what it's called.
It was Fallout Guys.
He doesn't even remember the good times he's had with you.
Leo, do you remember our planned video series, Fallout Boys, that only had one episode where we talked about Fallout 76?
Yeah.
And then we never did a follow-up Fallout Boys episode.
Despite that video's surprising success.
It did actually do pretty well.
Yeah. I don't see how that's relevant right now, but I appreciate the rates. I'm going to give it to Jeffem, I think.
Wow! There we go. Be a dick and
Leo.
say it loud is the lesson that Jeffem has taught us today.
That's
Hear
right.
me.
Wow. Coming on PlayStation 5, Jet, The Far Shore. This is the Super Brothers game where you're in that tiny little ship going on the horizon. Do you recall this cool looking game?
I look forward to
was
listening
cool.
to its soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeffem, how many shots you got left, big boy?
Well, I got 2 left. I'll take Jet.
There we go.
That looked cool.
Jeffem's Jet. Awesome. Lock it in. This is one of the most bizarre sagas in the game industry throughout the last year for me. What is going on with Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga? Like, it was that weird thing of, oh, well, surely they'll release it in time for Rise of Skywalker. Nope. I was like, okay, Rise of Skywalker on DVD, kind of like they did with Lego Force Awakens. Nope. It has been near radio silence about this project for quite a while.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to figure out how to remove Palpatine from Rise of Skywalker.
They're going to tell the real version of Rise of Skywalker in this story.
I wonder if, the reception to Rise of Skywalker kind of affected them, where they're like, now the game actually has to be good. We can't just ride the Star Wars wave into just selling them like the same game that we've made for however many years, and now like this being the complete package. This could be better than Rise of Skywalker.
TT Games put on the siren. Now it has to be good. Beware, everybody. Anybody taking the shot on Lego Star Wars? I bet it'll be fun.
Good. It probably will be.
Okay. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, Little Nightmares 2. Kyle, what is your mouth doing?
It's thinking about how he lost Halo in his grand scheme.
Uh-huh.
And if he should take the bullet that was intended for Halo and shoot Little Nightmares 2 in the head.
I think you should do that, man.
Execution style.
Do you want to play this game or not, Kyle?
Yeah, give me that. Give it me.
All right, there we go. Little Nightmares 2 going to Kyle. All right, coming on the PlayStation 5 is all they've said. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Kyle.
Wow, nobody else putting up a fight.
That's a reason to buy a PlayStation 5 for me. Like,
we've all played Spider-Man.
I do want to play it, but like I have one bullet left and I'm saving it.
Okay.
I mean that's a
I do want to play Spider-Man.
I had all my arguments ready. I thought I was going to have to fight Jeffem, and I was going to ask him if he played the DLC. I was going to ask him how many times he'd watched Into the Spider-Verse.
This is a simple thing now. You can just argue your case to the government.
Yeah,
like there's no opposing party, but you still have to make your case. You're going instead of this being a simple case, you're going to the DMV to renew your license. So make your argument of why you. I'm surprised,
Leo. You're not coming up against me for that's not a last bullet one for you either, huh?
No, Spider-Man was cool, but I wouldn't have finished it if not for that game club.
Wow. How's everybody doing on the bullet count? I'm out. Leo, how many?
I have one left.
Got one left still. And there's one left that I'm not totally sure is set for 2020, but I hope it is.
Interesting. Okay. Mortal Shell coming out September.
This is August 18th.
Yeah, August 18th.
Oh my gosh.
It got like moved up a little,
Oh, okay. I was out of date. I'm sorry I didn't get in there in the
Kyle,
August.
do you have one left too?
I have one bullet
Everybody
left.
has one left.
Okay.
Mortal Shell. Kyle, you're looking forward to it. Soulsborne-ish.
Yeah, I liked what I played, but it's not a final bullet game for me.
Kyle, you were in the highlight reel that the developer tweeted out of everybody making killer moves, and they showed you in your stream.
Yeah, maybe that's why I should give it my last bullet.
That's the way this works. Okay, no shots.
That was odd.
All right, Kyle. I mean, there's not too many left.
There are two that I'm kind of torn between that I think are coming up.
All right. Also, coming out to the PC. Oh, in June, I'm sorry, is My Diggy Dog 2. Anybody interested in
making it 2?
Back in June?
My Diggy Dog, playing this release from June.
I don't know this one.
Okay. All right.
I feel wrong. It's called Hanson's Diggy Dog. I shouldn't take that.
I'm going to looper this. I'm going back in time to shoot this one.
NHL 21? Anyone? Coming to the Switch. No More Heroes 3.
That was one of the two games that I had left, but that I think I regretted shooting Mafia 4. But it's not.
Are you out of bullets?
It is not the one. Yeah, I have one bullet left.
Wow. And you're not shooting it?
Going to use it on No More Heroes 3?
Yeah, I don't think my game is on your list.
I don't think it is.
No.
I was trying to be militant about what's coming out in 2020. I probably cut it. I think you should take this shot, dude.
I wish I hadn't shot Mafia is where I'm sitting now. Because I would have shot this instead.
Suriel, I'm telling you, you need to shoot No More Heroes 3 because I don't know what game you're thinking of, dude.
Amnesia Rebirth.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I included it on this list.
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't on Game Informer's list.
I checked the Wikipedia as I was on here, making sure that it was coming out in 2020, but it is still set for autumn of this year.
And that's just a new entry in Amnesia? Do you know which team's making it? Oh, Frictional. That's right.
Yeah, that is the new Frictional game. It is them returning to Amnesia.
Oh my God. All right, I'll put it on this list, and you're taking your shot on Amnesia Rebirth?
Yes. Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. How much
has like one of my favorite video game stories in a game ever, in the way they deliver it through like both gameplay and storytelling. So like that was a game that is a game I will champion really hard for. Like everyone should play Soma, especially now that they basically got rid of the one impediment, which was like, oh, the monster AI is kind of weird and not great in the horror stuff, but they got rid of that. Like you can basically play that game as an adventure game that is incredible. So like I'm excited to see how they're gonna like what is it about the Amnesia series or whatever concept they have that would say like, no, after we gave it off to the was it the Dear Esther developers? I think Chinese
that's
room,
right. Yep.
So like what is prompting them to return to that series that makes it, instead of them just making a new game?
Yeah.
What is it about that series that they're returning to? So
great choice. I love it.
I want to see that. I want to see what that game is more than almost any other game I think this year.
Wow. I did not see that coming. So No More Heroes 3 is up for grabs. Somebody wants to shoot it. All right, coming out on the Switch, we have the DLC, Pokemon Sword and Shield, The Crown Tundra. If you put a gun to my head, I cannot tell you whether or not I purchased this DLC and it's sitting there or not. I know I was curious. All right, at last we've heard, it's still 2020. Rainbow Six Quarantine.
I don't. Not this year. I'm gonna go ahead and say.
It's either the perfect time or the worst time for Ubisoft to release Rainbow Six Quarantine. The three.
We've decided to rename it. It's now Rainbow Six Lockdown. Does that work better?
So it's the 3-player co-op experience. It kind of Left 4 Dead-ish, Leo. What all do you know about Rainbow Six Quarantine?
Very little. All we've seen is a teaser trailer, and I guarantee you the next thing we hear about that game will be the announcement of the name change.
Right.
But yeah, 3-player co-op, single player for Rainbow Six Siege that Rainbow Six Siege does not have because the single player has been so long since abandoned in that game.
Yeah.
It's based on like a really popular mode that they added at some point, right? Like it was like supposed to be a seasonal thing and people really liked it. Is that?
Yeah, I think at least loosely. Yeah, their Outbreak season, they had like 3 exclusive missions that were from a standalone thing that got canceled, so they just put them in Rainbow Six Siege for a month and a half. And that was pretty cool, but I mean, it's not what I come to Siege for, so I will probably play it, but I'm not even that. Even in a non-duel scenario, I'm not that excited for it.
Really? I'm looking at the
Unless they give me a good reason to be. I just haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. And then Spiritfarer. Have you seen this one where you're kind of building a boat, navigating in a boat, side view, beautiful looking game, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. Bit of an indie project, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Coming to PC in 2020, they say. The Good Life, which is Swery's game. 2 games in 1 year. Deadly Premonition 2 and The Good Life.
It was on my like list to look at for sure because I like those. I like sweary games. They're like it's like a weird it's like a couple game for me. My wife and I always play Swery's games together.
Yeah,
like we played. I forget the JJ McField one. Like that was another one that we passed the controller back and forth and played. So in that sense, like I'm excited for it, but I'm not enough to give it a bullet.
I don't know what you all are saving your bullets for. We have 4 left.
And they're not good.
Hey, you tell me. Coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, The Last Campfire from Hello Games. Kind of that side indie project within Hello Games. Looks cool. A little adventure experience. Okay. Then we have Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, they say, coming in 2020.
I'm now, because I thought I was being vigilant too, but now I'm worried that my 2 potential ones, maybe they slipped into 2021 and I missed it, or just didn't know.
That's what happened for me.
I just didn't include it on here. Well, surely you're safe, Kyle, because we have World of Warcraft Shadowlands coming to PC. And then the final one, and don't all yell it at once, Worms Rumble.
Bang.
There we go, Leo. Taking Worms Rumble as the last one. It actually looks interesting. Like it's not your typical Worm. They're not trying to harken back to the old stuff. It's like from a different perspective. Maybe you can capture some of that even like Fall Guys spirit. It's an interesting looking game.
Ain't your daddy's
so
worm?
Should we share the ones that I thought I was going to be able to shoot?
Yeah, please. Which ones?
Is Ratchet and Clank not this year?
I don't think they've confirmed it for this year. I think I've said that on the podcast, and people have constantly corrected me about like, I don't know why Hanson's saying this. They haven't said anything about a release date.
I guess it just felt like such a perfect game to have at the beginning of the PS5's life that I wished it to be there. That was my number 1. That was going to be my last bullet. And then the other one that I was like, had potentially was Hollow Knight Silk Song. Did that go into 2021?
That is 2021 at this point.
Okay.
You want my Mafia bullet, by the way? Just
Ricochet.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Deathloop.
Me too.
Oh,
I don't think that's out this year.
God, yeah, I don't think. I mean, unless it was just missing on Game Informer's list. Ooh, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Deathloop is Q4 2020. Game Informer's just missing it on that list. Deathloop,
right,
ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, actually, you know what? I guess my last bullet on Worms Rumble, so whoops.
Bad.
Jeff, you taking it?
I trusted the system. This is what I get.
It'll always let you down. You saw what happened with that justice system.
I'm
Congratulations.
sure Worms Rumble's going to be good though too.
Oh, shut up.
I'm sure there's other ones that
another one I had,
cracks.
which is again maybe a 2021. It's also one of those like vaporware ones that I don't know if it's going to exist because it's so complicated. But System Shock Remastered. I've never played the original System Shock, so I thought maybe like playing the remake would be my chance to step into that universe and see what it's all about.
I mean, I'm sorry I missed it. Yes, the remake they still say is 2020. Did you have a shot?
It's my last bullet, I guess.
Wow.
System Shock.
Stunning. All right. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's figure out what we all got. Does everybody have their list?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I can help you with your cereal if you want.
Can I travel? Am I allowed to travel back in time?
So for 2020,
you really hate Mafia.
Well, I could not have made a dumber move. Yeah.
I'm going to be playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, Crash Bandicoot 4, Chris Tales, 12 Minutes, Fuser from Harmonix, and Hades. And I feel pretty good about that. That feels accurate to my soul.
That's a handsome list.
Yeah, thanks. Jeff, and what do you got?
Some game called Cyberpunk. I don't know. Halo Infinite. Who even wants to play that? The Medium, which I am excited for, even though this doesn't actually guarantee I get to play it. Bug Snacks, Jet, and Deathloop.
Got a good list.
Yeah, Jeffem's got a killer list.
There you go.
Very good at this game. Kyle,
I didn't think I was going to have much, but it all came together.
Kyle, what do you have?
I've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I've got Axiom Verge 2. I've got Biomutant, Little Nightmares 2, System Shock Remastered, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is I felt like was my big win. I really thought I was going to have to fight for Spider-Man. That's so funny.
Yeah. Leo?
I got Rogue Legacy 2, Hyperscape, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater remakes, Star Wars Squadrons, Watch Dogs Legion, and something called Worms Rumble I hadn't heard of until this episode.
Oh, I can't wait for that Great Goaty Hunt all about Worms Rumble. That's going to be sweet. Surreal, do you know what you got?
I don't know if anyone else has kept track, but I have Amnesia Rebirth.
Yep.
I have Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Ugh.
Destiny 2 Beyond Light.
Uh-huh.
What else did I have?
You have Mafia Definitive Edition.
Well, we'll see about that.
Okay, and then Marvel's Avengers.
That's true. Why did I pick Marvel's Avengers?
So you took Mafia and Marvel's Avengers over No More Heroes.
Not into this at all.
Wait, do you even have 6?
Do I?
6?
Is it?
Marvel, Mafia, Amnesia.
I think he's
Destiny.
at 5.
Destiny, Yakuza. Did I not count right?
I think you're off, dude. I think you have one more shot on No More Heroes 3 if you want to take it.
I'll shoot No More Heroes, yeah.
There we go.
Don't throw away that shot.
Everybody wins. Congratulations, Surreal. You get No More Heroes 3.
It's going to be good now.
Woo! And that's 2020, everybody. And we are legally obligated to only play these games. Not really, but spiritually, these are our games going throughout the year. Fantastic. Leo, what's going on? You have a new episode of Watch Later going up this week?
That's right. It'll already be up for patrons at the time of this podcast going up, and then it'll go up for everybody on Friday.
Oh, fantastic. How are you feeling about it?
Good. It was there was some writer's block going on, but I found something I'm excited to work on. So, and also for patrons, $10 and up, you can see me edit it live.
So this is something we should talk about. Yeah. So last week we teased it. This week we introduced the Backstage Pass tier, a revamping of our $10 tier on Patreon. So now at that $10 tier, you can still vote on what we stream every week for the Great Goaty Hunt. And we've added a channel in the MinnMax Discord where we share links to watch Leo edit, watch later live, which is a fun idea. A bunch of my notes, if you want to see the show notes for the MinnMax show, the deepest dive, the notes as I'm playing those games, interview notes, stuff like that. We post that in the channel, behind the scenes snippets. And you can watch us record the MinnMax show live. So we have a crowd, hello, lovely people in the Backstage Pass, watching us do this live right now. Also, future episodes of The Deepest Dive, other recordings, we just throw a link in that Discord channel, say, hey, we're live right now. You can check it out and watch it on a very, very early access basis if you like. But if you're nerdy, if you're techie, I think it's a good place for you. So thanks for all the supporters that have jumped up to that $10 tier and are keeping this whole indie trainer rolling. We appreciate it. Leo, would you like to clap out of here?
Here I go.
Well, Leo Vader will be missed. But other things we should point out, since it's the start of a new month, we have new pictures on the Wall of Heroes, the TV set behind us. If you want to get your picture on there, you can support us at the Wall of Heroes tier. If you have a picture on there and you want us to change it for the month of August, please send me a message on Patreon and let me know. At the same time, too, people supporting us at the $50 tier, the in the credits tier. So they get their name in the credits in the description for all MinnMax content. We read their name on every episode of the MinnMax show. And we create a custom, private if you want, thank you video. So if you supported us at the $50 tier throughout the month of July and you want us to ship out that custom thank you video, if you want us to do anything saying anything specifically, convey a message, send us a message on Patreon, and we will customize that how you like, because we're here for you. That's why this whole show exists. Other things to plug is Refreshed. A new live episode of Refreshed is going live on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central with Ana Diaz. And she's joined by Kelsey Lewin, who's on the Animal Crossing Deepest Dive. She's the co-founder, or co-director, I should say, of the Video Game History Foundation. Incredibly smart person. And they're going to be talking about the Pokemon community is online. Like Sarah B., was it Samogo? Was that other one? I forget the name. But they're going to be talking about just the popularity of subset Pokemon communities online. And so you can join them live, throw in a question about Pokemon or anything else you'd like. And then that archive will be up on YouTube. And then also the podcast version will be in the Patreon exclusive podcast feed. Also, this Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, we're going to be streaming a new episode of Better Quest. Jeff Cork and I are going to be setting our new monthly personal goals for August. People from the community at the $20 tier can call in and convey their goal for the month of August. We'll also have people checking in on how their July personal goals went. It's a fun, lovely time. And even if you don't want to call in, you can still participate by joining us on Patreon at any tier. And then there's a whole channel dedicated to Better Quest where people just post amazing photos of like, here's me learning how to cook, learning how to paint. Here's, I wanted to go on a hike every day. Here's pictures of that. It's just like the most uplifting, positive corner of a very uplifting and positive Discord overall. And wanted to let folks know too that last week we streamed the remake of Destroy All Humans with the game's original senior game designer, Dan Teasdale, who eventually left Pandemic, the name of the studio that made Destroy All Humans, and then was the lead designer of Rock Band 1 through 3, worked a little bit on the first BioShock, and then he founded No Goblin and created Roundabout, one of my favorite games from this generation. And so in that stream, we played Destroy All Humans while talking to him about creating Destroy All Humans. So if you're a Destroy All Humans fan, I think it's a really interesting format and look at the creation of that game, where he gets to marvel at the remake while also telling old stories about that game, including how the game started, Kyle. Did you know this weird detail? Where?
Yes. Let you go. Why don't you tell us? I did watch the clip, but I forget what it was.
That's fine. So Destroy All Humans was born out of frustration because Pandemic was creating a pitch for Fusion Frenzy 2.
For free Fusion Frenzy, right, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then the pitch and Microsoft didn't let it happen. It fell apart. And then in the ashes of that, like, well, let's take some of that tech and make a Pikmin-style game where you're flying around a UFO picking people up. And then that's what evolved into Destroy All Humans. So the idea of Pandemic pitching a Fusion Frenzy 2 before the actual Fusion Frenzy 2 was just like a fun little game history tidbit. And so it's a good chat overall with Dan Teasdale, so please check that out. Also, we want to thank our new podcast supporters, Captain Stubbs 1. He says, hey, MinnMax family, I'm back with a new project this time. Have you ever wondered how bad Fallout 3 lockpicking is? Or how often you should be changing keys on your home? Come on over to the Ask a Locksmith podcast where all these and more are answered. Every other week on all major podcast apps, I sit down to answer the burning questions sent to askalocksmithpod@gmail.com. I'd be happy to answer yours too. Captain Subs 1 is so great. Not only is his picture wearing the Jeffem mask on his face on the TV, which is great for the Wall of Heroes, but just the idea of him leaning into being a locksmith and starting an entire podcast about it, that is a good Deepest Dive-esque topic. So thanks, Captain Stubbs 1. That's awesome. Also, thank you to Bambox. Bambox says, we want to say thank you to the MinnMaxers and other gamers out there who helped make our first gamer box a massive success. Everyone seems to be loving the Crash Bandicoot Funko Pop signed by Brendan O'Brien, the original voice of nearly all characters in the original Crash trilogy, including Crash himself. Speaking of Crash quips, the next box is in pre-order and will be full of more collectible items inspired by Battletoads, Final Fantasy VII, and Resident Evil, along with a mystery franchise. Another signed pop is also guaranteed. By ordering, you'll become part of the exclusive BAM community of true gamers, qualifying you for epic giveaways and much more, so please check us out at thebambox.com. Also, we'd love to know what collectible item would Ben Hansen and the other MinnMaximuses want above all others for their collection. In other words, what's your grail item? What would you like in a BAM box, Jeffem?
Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea.
Is it possibly what's in this one that they sent me, which I believe is probably from
Oh, yeah. You know, what I would really like is Pull it out, Hanson.
Oh, is it? Oh, this is fantastic. Is it a signed Crash Bandicoot Funko Pop?
There you go. Yes, that was right on the tip of my brain.
I am genuinely tickled by this. Speaking of tickle, like the idea of having a tiny Funko Pop signed by the voice actor is a very specific thing. Thank you, Bambox.
That's cool.
That's fantastic. That's very fun. I love Tiny. Also, thanks to IM8bit for their continued support of MinnMax. They want you to know that they have a huge Untitled Goose Game blowout. You can buy the vinyl soundtrack for Untitled Goose Game, one of the most unique and interesting soundtracks from last year. And the entire vinyl is recycled. So it comes in a random color. It's 100% eco-friendly, along with Untitled Goose Game in a box on PS4 and Nintendo Switch, which is only available at im8bit.com. It's cool custom packaging, and it's also 100% recycled material. So support the environment and buy a physical version of Untitled Goose Game from im8bit. And remember, if you go to their store, im8bit.com, you can use the promo code MinnMaxShow to get 10% off. Just a reminder, that promo code has changed, and it's now MinnMaxShow for 10% off. But thank you to IM8bit for their support. Yeah, don't post it on Reddit, everybody. Be cool. And they support us and the community in a huge way by giving something away every single week on the MinnMax Show to the question of the week. So this week, our favorite comment that was posted on patreon.com/MinnMax2Ns, when we look for the questions every single week, is going to win this plushie from Monument Valley. Isn't that cute? Little Ida plushie, apparently, is the character's name from Monument Valley. So thanks to IM8bit for lining that whole thing up. And now, community questions. Thank you to everybody that supports us at any tier and submits wonderful questions each and every week. Flip the USB twice. Says, hi. I wanted to hear your thoughts on the recent Avengers game controversy. I believe this game is a big middle finger to all Marvel fans that don't own a PlayStation, and it seems that Square Enix just doesn't care. Having a PlayStation-exclusive Spider-Man PS4 skin would be a totally natural and okay thing to do. I don't think anyone would argue that. But locking an entire character away that'll provide maybe 20 hours worth of content is just disgusting. And to make it worse, PlayStation users will gain access to other things as well. 30 days early access to a legendary outfit, emote, nameplate, takedown for each hero, a free bundle for all the post-launch characters, which includes a rare outfit, nameplate, 1,000 credits, free exclusive outfit from Ms. Marvel. This game won't be out for another month, and it already smells like pure greed. I won't be buying it. A lot of people wrote in very angry about this Spider-Man exclusivity for Avengers. What do y'all think about it, and just about exclusivity on a console level like that in general?
Yeah, this definitely. It's weird. It is disappointing, like that that big a character is locked away on one console.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, with Spider-Man kind of being a Sony thing in a weird way, it does seem like, hey, if we're gonna have a console exclusive character, I guess Spider-Man makes sense. But it is really weird for them to, you know, like I guess it also like strikes me as like how crucial can Spider-Man be, right? Like to that game if he's just like an optional character, and that kind of makes me think about like how integral is any post-launch characters going to be if they follow the Spider-Man vein, right? Even if they're not console exclusive, like how interchangeable are those characters going to be? Obviously, like the Avengers are probably going to be like, you know, core, but like, you know, if they add Black Panther or whoever down the road, like the fact that Spider-Man essentially becomes like an optional thing kind of sets the precedent of like, you don't have to have these characters if they're willing to release a version of the game without them.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it. And so it's going to be in 2021 when they're revealing it. I mean, we've spent so much time talking about, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they included Insomniac Spider-Man and made this a shared gaming universe? You know, I've interviewed people from Marvel, interviewed people from Insomniac, teasing that idea, like, oh, wouldn't that be great? And I was just flabbergasted at this reveal. The fact that they just do it in a PlayStation blog post and say, yeah, Spider-Man's going to be coming to Avengers, but it's not the Insomniac Spider-Man, it's their own take on Spider-Man. It's just like, I think back to how amazing that moment was in Captain America Civil War. Like that first trailer, remember where Iron Man's like, on your ruse, and then Spider-Man swung in. Like I like the Marvel movies, but I'm not even like a huge comic book guy going back to my youth. But still, that moment was just awesome. And I was waiting for that equivalent in a trailer, and instead they just posted it on a blog. It's the weirdest rollout I could have expected for this.
Yeah, I definitely think that is also another thing that kind of makes me temper my expectations of how like, yeah, again, how interchangeable those characters are going to be. Is it going to be a thing where it's like, hey, he slings webs or whatever, and like it's like a really cool thing that changes the game up, or is it just going to be, well, we had Kamala Khan who could already kind of do some of his things, so he's just like, oh, he like basically stands in as like, oh, he's like a utility or a DPS character, so they're kind of all, you can swap in Kamala, Iron Man, whoever, like they all kind of just serve those functions.
Yeah.
So like I'm very curious to see what that ends up being. So yeah, it's disappointing. Obviously if you're like I was planning to play the game on PC if possible, but like this basically means that I'll probably end up getting on PS4 because why not?
Yeah.
But then also it's like, okay, this is maybe not as crucial a character as I might have wanted it to be.
It's a rough week for that game with the combo of previews coming out and people being like, maybe. And then this news getting the hardcore comic book fans that aren't on PlayStation pretty pissed about it. It's a tough launch. Another secret plug. We have an interview coming up next week with some people that left Visceral to create Airborne Kingdom, like I mentioned. And Zach Mumbach left Visceral and went to work on Avengers in the early stages. So we talk a little about that, the pressure to make it a living game in that early phase. So it's an interesting bit of insight there, but tricky one. I feel like more than any other game this year, Avengers is going to be the one that the game industry consumes and then just chews on for a while. Like, what is the conclusion here? What are we dealing with? Yeah, what happened, or just
treatment that Ultimate Alliance 3 should have received.
Right. Maybe. Yeah.
And so like, yeah, people pointed out that it's not necessarily that they can't put the game, like Spider-Man, in any other games because he was in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So it's not like Sony owns the copyright to this character, because that's not the case. So it's definitely just feels like Sony kind of using their leverage to push people into their platform in a way that just feels really anti-consumer. And this is one of those, like, I feel like we haven't had a controversy about that in a while, but like, one of those games where you get a different bonus depending on which retailer you pre-order from. Yeah. And like, it's just such a weird rollout for this thing that it just pre-assumes that people are going to fall in love with this product, which maybe they can't because it's Marvel, but they're like, none of the stuff that it pertains to the game itself has helped that game's kind of reputation with people. And that's kind of a bummer to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was like the last thing that this game needed, is another layer of controversy and reason for people to be mad about it, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not at that tier, like, it's not like a Final Fantasy VII Cyberpunk where it's like they could mess something up and people like will still be like, oh, I'll play it, but I'm not gonna like it as much because they fumbled this one aspect of it. It's like this game, I think after some of the preview stuff was still like teetering as like, should I play this game? I guess I'll wait for it to see if it's good, but like this extra does not help.
Yeah. King Prometheus writes in and says, howdy, MinnMax. What are your gut feelings on the perceived game of chicken Sony and Microsoft are in right now about release dates and prices for the next consoles? I know the common belief is that they're waiting for the others so they can undercut, but do you think they really can be so lenient with their prices? It feels like companies this large cannot be so impulsive with their pricing, and it's probably already set in stone. That said, it is hard to explain why we haven't heard from them either. So what do you think? From your favorite Twitch mod, King Prometheus. Thank you for all your hard work on Twitch, King. A lot of people have written in about this, like, this silence is deafening. What is happening? Who is going to blink first? Because we're getting down to it.
Do you know the timeline of when prices were revealed? Was it usually E3?
Yeah, it's E3.
We would learn prices. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's weird, and I think they're right about it being set in stone. Like, I bet they are locked into those prices. I don't think they can pivot too much.
Why not? It's just a matter of how much of a bath they're taking.
Like PlayStation 3 was like, the price for 360 came out first, and PlayStation 3 didn't pivot at all.
But we don't know. I mean, seems likely, but we don't know that like the PS4 price didn't change in that day after Microsoft's press conference for the last launch of the last gen. I'd be surprised if it did, just because the Kinect was inflating the price of the Xbox One there. But
also, what's the disadvantage of why not share the price already? Like, is it just...
Because then somebody can undercut them. So it must be flexible if they know the other person can be flexible on their end to undercut them. So,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I also wonder, like, regardless of what the price ends up being, if it's more of a PR move than like, hey, we can pivot to like $400 or $500 or whatever, depending on what our competition says, and more about like, how do we angle our console? Because I feel like Microsoft is already amping up because they've already said, hey, this is now the world's most powerful console. And, are they still going to charge $600 for it if Sony does, or if they charge $500, do they just continue to push our console is stronger, even though the specs are out for both of them. So I think that it's as much of a PR thing where if you announce second, then you have the advantage of tweaking your messaging, even if you're not changing the price.
Yes, absolutely. Joe Stone says, hey, Ben in the CLCs, previous console generations have usually seen one of the manufacturers declared the winner and one of them the loser, mostly based on hardware sales and general fan sentiment. With Sony and Microsoft this generation seemingly having wildly different goals, Sony keeping their focus on selling hardware and first-party exclusives, and Microsoft focusing more on getting the Game Pass users across a wide range of platforms, will it mean an end to the debate on who wins the generation? You can't win or lose if you're not in the same race.
No, unfortunately. I think they'll still be pitting them against each other.
Because it'll just be still mind share, even if it's not, this number is higher than this number for total sales, therefore you're the winner. The debate is going to be, yes, the Game Pass trickle versus the occasional Sony juggernaut of a release. That's still going to be a less quantifiable war.
I mean, I guess Nintendo has managed to get out of that race by just releasing their platforms at such disparate times.
That's it. Yeah. For
difference, but the fact that those two are coming out around the same time, they're always going to be debating with each other. It's just kind of unavoidable.
So the only way you can win is to get off cycle like Nintendo.
I think so.
Yeah, because that Wii U thing really threw us for a loop.
But I think it's also just doing something completely different. With the Wii, it wasn't competing in the same category of I think a lot of the time when people talk about who wins, they're still thinking of it in terms of who has the best and most powerful console.
Right.
It's people wrote off the Wii, and the fact that it sold 1 billion consoles didn't really factor into who won, Yeah.
Yeah. I think for Nintendo, I think with the other two consoles, you kind of see it as which brand of Blu-ray player are you going to get, right? Because they're both kind of sold as you can play all the latest games, and then Sony just happens to have their exclusives and Microsoft happens to have theirs, whereas Nintendo is just no, this is a game machine where you play the Nintendo games and occasionally whatever other third-party games are developed for our consoles, and the Switch just kind of further digs into the this is kind of a spin-off console in a way where it's you buy Wolfenstein or Doom or whatever again, but the bonus is that it's portable versus I'm just playing it on my console. So I think that they're more directly comparable still, because which machine are you going to play all the latest video games on is kind of the question, right? Versus Nintendo, where that isn't no one ever buys a Nintendo console assuming this is where I'll play all my video games.
I can't wait to play Armored Edition of Arkham City. Arkham. Mr. Lopez 333 says, hey, MinnMaxians, with the next generation of consoles on the horizon, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? I find myself very excited for what they will eventually be, but admittedly not crazy excited for the launch titles whatsoever. This got me thinking, what other launches had mediocre or less than amazing titles? So of course I had to make a related game for the crew to play titled Launch Loser. Guess the lowest rated launch title for these console launches. Xbox One. Okay. Does anybody want to guess lowest rated launch title at Xbox One?
Was Metacritic or
Metacritic? Sorry.
Was Lococycle a launch game?
It was not.
Crimson Dragon.
Crimson Dragon is correct with a Metacritic of 55. PS4.
God, what is the name of the Contrast?
Contrast is close at a 59, but there is one lower.
Is it really? Is it like some PlayStation Move crap that I probably reviewed?
No. Second to the bottom is Blacklight Retribution at a 58. I am surprised that this one is this low, but think of PS4 launch, the go-to joke game.
Knack?
Knack is apparently a 54 on Metacritic, which seems harsh.
Yeah, that's harsh. That's bad.
People wanted to pounce on that game, I guess.
Nintendo Switch.
Bomberman.
Nope, that was at a 62.
Switch. 1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch at a 58. There we go.
Sorry, I should have let Jeffem answer that.
He's know. It's his game.
I was thinking of Bomberman too. I completely blocked 1-2 Switch out of my mind.
Does anybody else have a console they want to do? We have them all, but I don't think we need to run through all of them.
Was it Wii?
All right.
Do you have the Wii?
I do have the Wii. So launch of Wii. Do you have any guesses? Otherwise, I could run through them.
I don't have any guesses. I just there was a lot of crap on Wii, but I don't think it was there early on. I think it actually
launch of the Wii. Here's some options for you: Elebits, Excite Truck, GT Pro Series, Red Steel, or Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz.
I'm gonna go Red Steel.
Man, I think Red Steel might have gotten some pretty harsh criticism.
Red Steel's at 63, but you forget how scathing the criticism was for GT Pro Series at a 41 on Metacritic.
Wow.
Just brutal out there.
What's the original Xbox?
Original Xbox. Oh boy.
Fusion Frenzy, probably, right?
Fusion Frenzy is at a 70 on Metacritic.
Oh, all right.
Solid.
Yeah. I have never heard of this game.
Azuric?
Nope. So your options are, for the launch of the original Xbox, Cell Damage, Fusion Frenzy, Mad Dash Racing, Transworld Surf, or Air Force Delta Storm.
I'm going to go Transworld Surf.
I don't think Mad Dash. I know the cover art. I don't think people like that one.
Air Force Delta Storm's at a 61 on Metacritic.
Is Perfect Dark Zero the one for the 360?
You tell me, Serial. What do you think the 360 was? Your options are Amped 3, Condemned, Ridge Racer 6, Cameo, or FIFA 06.
Oh, Perfect Dark Zero wasn't the launch game?
It was, but it's not included in this list.
I mean, Cameo
was all right.
I liked Cameo fine, honestly, but I think critics were pretty down on that game when it came out.
Incorrect. Cameo was a 79 on Metacritic, apparently.
Okay. I remember Peter Moore trying to tell EGM that they should like in an interview or something. He was like, "You guys should take another look at Cameo. Maybe think about changing that review score."
Oh, that's funny. Just on Bombcast last week, Jeff Gerstmann's like, "That game's totally all right. Give it its due."
It's my kid's favorite game. I've played it like 4 times with her.
What? Really?
I don't know why. It just like really appeals to her, but like we've played through it multiple times.
God, that's bizarre. Yeah. It turns out FIFA 06 was a 62.
Oh.
Okay, other hot news. Brad Grenz says, "Hey, minimized Maximals." Sure. This week, people got mad about PS5 controllers. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? So people are upset that it was revealed, Jeffem, that you can't play PS5 games with the PS4 controller.
PS4.
But you can still play on your PS5 with your PS4, but only the backwards compatible PS4 games on there. So Brad says, "This is strange to me why everybody's so mad, as every new console generation in the history of the industry has required a new controller to play new games. It has literally always worked this way, so why is this now considered controversial? In my mind, the dogged refusal by Xbox to include what otherwise would be industry standard controller features like gyro sensors and included rechargeable batteries, without having the common courtesy to even pass those savings on to users, is far more anti-consumer. So how is it that Microsoft's strategy is being viewed as progressive by letting you play with the old controller, while Sony is painted as stuck in the past for wanting to charge money for futuristic hardware?"
What is the complaint? Do we know? Because I had a similar
that you can't play PS5 games with the PS4 controller, whereas Microsoft lets you play. You can run Xbox Series X games with a Xbox One controller.
So it's because the Xbox comparison exists.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Is that they're it's like another point in Microsoft's favor in terms of like, oh well, you can't play the controller. But I think I guess I wouldn't have thought to do that even. I may as well just play, if I'm playing PS5 game, I may as well use a PS5 controller. But I think for multiplayer games, I think that might be a factor where it's like, oh, you can't use your PS4 game to have someone else play co-op with you. Is maybe I can totally see why people would be bummed about that for sure.
Yeah. Charles Davis writes in with a humdinger. Ready for this one, Jeffem? Charles asks, "Do caterpillars know that they're going to be butterflies, or do they build a cocoon not knowing what will happen?"
I think they do.
Yeah, they probably just think they're going to sleep. They're like going to take a nap.
But then it's just like a really long nap, and then they wake up as another creature.
Yeah.
Is it
so they always wake up going, "Oh snap! I'm a butterfly.
I can fly now. This is awesome."
I think they know. Have you guys ever? I think maybe it was Radio Lab or Science Versus podcast. They talked about, there's an episode where they talked about the process of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
Yeah.
And like how it's so much more mysterious than we understand, because like it's like the caterpillar literally just like reverts to goo. There's a point in that whole like that transformation where it's not even a creature. It just basically dissolves itself and then regrows. Because like I always assumed it was like the caterpillar just grew wings, but it totally.
You're just thinking of Bug's Life essentially.
What'd you say?
Thinking of Heimlich and Bug's Life.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was scientifically accurate.
That's so nuts. Because I guess it's also a tough thing of like, how do you even? I guess X-rays. Can you watch it?
I think the way they did it is they just had caterpillars at different stages, and they like would do cut into it at different stages to see what was happening inside there at certain moments.
Jeff,
I'm messed up, man.
Jeff, you're way smarter than I am. Is there something interesting with like, are caterpillars and butterflies two different animals? Are they the same animal technically? Like if you look at like an animal tree.
Well, if they're turned into goo, who knows? All bets are off.
Yeah, is goo an animal? But you look at like a animal kingdom tree. If you zoomed in enough to see the caterpillar one, is it like caterpillar / butterfly, or are those two separate things? Or is it stupid to consider them two separate things?
Yeah. Do they have
tadpoles still amphibians?
Yes.
Well, tadpole's the same animal as a frog.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But tadpoles can't survive on land. So are they amphibians?
No.
Freak out! Right in,
This
please.
is a great platform to discuss.
This is the best possible place to talk about all of our animal classification questions.
If anybody out there...
Any zoologists, please write in.
Please, we need you to explain animals to us. Start with the basics. Nothing's too dumb.
That's the name of our new podcast, Explain Animals to Us.
Mick Manga says, going off the last podcast about favorite new IPs of the generation, here's my top 5. 1, Stardew Valley, then Yooka-Laylee, then Horizon Zero Dawn, then Undertale. Thank you. And then 5 is Churchill. Please let there be a sequel. Deep cut. Thank you, Mick. Anyway, here...
Oh, hey, by the way, Solar Ash, I did learn, is in the same universe as Hyper Light Drifter. It's not a sequel, but it is the same universe.
Oh, interesting. Okay, perfect. Also, when we're talking about new IP from Nintendo and how much they dropped the ball, still true, but there was only one comment, which is obsessed with me. There's only one that brought up, we forgot Astral Chain, just from last year, which is a pretty big swing on new IP.
Yeah. Guess I'm still waiting for them to make another one, but...
Wait, really? It's been like 8 months. What are you talking about?
Well, like for them to announce something or something, like just to see whether or not they continue with that series.
Yeah.
Even just like DLC or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
you're totally right.
Mick has more questions. He says, here's my question. And here is the question. What style of game would you like to see come back in a big way with the next generation? For myself, with the success of some indies, I hope the monster raising genre comes back across all platforms in a big way. Or maybe it's time for the raise of the farm life sim games and take center stage as opposed to being niche. All right. It's a little bit bungled, but you get the idea. What types of games do you want to rise up next generation?
And my answer might have been platformers, but it seems like that's already happening.
It's happening this year. Jeffem? Couch co-op?
Yeah. Although now I can't use my PS4 controllers on my PS5, so...
Yes.
So I don't want to play this. Well, I mean, you can play them on your Xbox Series X, though.
That is true. That's where I'm going, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah,
just that kind of... And I think part of it, even though it doesn't have couch co-op, but Fall Guys has gotten me thinking about those kind of just simpler kind of family-oriented experiences that you can just have a fun time, with a group of people, even though Fall Guys is all online, but that it got me wanting more of those kind of games.
Yeah.
Fusion Frenzy, which even though Fusion Frenzy was a stupid knockoff of Mario Party, like that kind of experience is still fun. And I'm sure you could do like so much more interesting things with such a more powerful console.
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Jeff, you should rewind, I don't know, probably an hour at this point, and hear Hanson talking about the Intellivision.
Maybe up your alley. Something for Mick here, if you like Stardew Valley so much, I haven't checked it out yet, but there's a game on Steam called Littlewood, which is out. It's not early access or anything, and it's sitting at overwhelmingly positive. It seems very cool. It seems Stardew Valley-esque, maybe a little bit more techy with a simpler art style as well, but I'm really looking forward to checking that out tonight. Littlewood was the name of that one.
Yeah. I would like to see more character action games. I know, like, because even though we've had like in the past few years we've had God of War, Devil May Cry, and Astral Chain, I think a lot more of the action like Twitch-based games have kind of defaulted to we'll make it like Dark Souls, where it's like anytime you have like an interesting mechanic that you could like action-based mechanic, I think it just either defaults to making it a Dark Souls game or making it more of an RPG, like something like Nier Automata.
Right. Lorenzo Gadillo says, first time writing in, long time listener. Thank you, Lorenzo. Thank you for taking that leap. We appreciate it. We don't think we explain enough how sweet that is that people listen or watch and they're like, you know what, I'm going to submit something. I'm going to support us on Patreon. Thank you. To follow up another episode conversation about Battleborn, I'll tell you my amazing experience with the game. It started with the beta until launch and immediately fell in love with the characters and how it was played. Over time on Xbox, some community people made up an Xbox Battleborn League for about 5 seasons. Me and my friends were in every season and made incredible friends along the way. If it wasn't for Battleborn and the community on Xbox, I wouldn't have met over 100 friends on my friends list. As far as Battleborn and the game itself, Gearbox didn't treat it well after launch with a lot of microtransactions, DLC character, and operations that was overpriced as well as cosmetics. My question is, what game have you made the most friends on? Simple question. Good question.
I mean, mine would be Halo, but it was a lot of me bringing friends that I already had over to play Halo.
So cementing friendships instead of starting new ones?
Yeah. But I mean, there also was like, there were a lot of opportunities where it was like, oh, you play Halo? Come over and play Halo with us.
Right.
So that was the big one for me. That one's more offline. I don't know if I have a good answer for like an online counterpart.
Yeah, I was going to say mine was GoldenEye for the same reason, where I played with a bunch of different kind of groups, and even like my older brother and his friends, I'd like go to campus on the U where he was living with a bunch of friends and still play GoldenEye with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a toss-up between Dota 2 and Destiny. I think from a quantity standpoint, I've probably, like, most of my friends list on Steam basically is people I've played Dota with at some point.
Yeah.
But I think because of the way Destiny works, you're kind of more committed to, people in your clan who you raid with. So it's like, I feel like the friendships I've developed through Destiny, and there are a couple of people we transitioned from playing one game to the other, where I think we met through Dota and ended up playing a bunch of Destiny together later on. But I think in terms of qualitative, I think a lot of my friendships with people I've played Destiny with are maybe a little bit deeper than the Dota ones, even though I have more of those.
Yeah. Also, Lorenzo says, P.S. Gigantic was my favorite new IP of this generation. Rest in peace. I forgot about Gigantic.
It did have a cool look to it.
I think everyone did.
Yeah. Chris Logan says, hey, Ben, in the Minnesotan cohorts in the 1991 alternative hit Outshined by Soundgarden, Chris Cornell sings the famous lines, I'm looking California and feeling Minnesota. Chris says, in your own words, Jeffem, what does it mean to feel Minnesota?
Well, based on that song, it's feeling like crap, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know this song at all.
Oh, yeah.
It's Minnesota.
I think about that song all the time.
Really?
It's still imprinted in my brain because I was a big Soundgarden fan. But yeah, it's always like, I'm looking California, and that's super cool. And then but I'm feeling Minnesota. And then it's like,
he says it all pouty.
I think they played The Price is Right trombone theme, right?
Yep.
When that's
the first sample of it, yeah. Brian,
but it's rock, so it's cool.
Right. Brian Ventura says, hey, MinnMax crew, what is, in your opinion, the most immersive game you've played this generation? Immersive.
I think it's probably Alex. Half-Life Alex.
Oh, interesting. Real immersion. Okay.
I think a lot of VR stuff has that advantage, right? I think
of course.
The other one, I didn't play it in VR, but it is technically a VR game. But Adrift, which was like a game where you were an astronaut and you were just kind of floating through space. It wasn't like it's not like an incredible game or anything, but I liked it back in the day just because it felt like the way they captured the ability to like rotate and stuff and move through like the wreckage of the space station. I thought was really well done. Even if like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, go to this part of the station and grab this and do this 3 more times. Like the game design part of it wasn't great, but just the feeling of being an astronaut in space was like not something you see a ton of before, especially before VR.
Yeah.
But I think they really nailed that feeling of like, oh, I feel like I'm really in space, even though I'm not even playing this in VR.
I like that idea of comparing games like Adrift, which, are not 10 out of 10s, but it's VR, so it's more immersive versus something like Breath of the Wild, which is an immersive world, or even like Ghost of Tsushima, people are really immersed in now. Because that's a weird thing of like, yeah, if I take this question literally, my answer would probably be like Rec Room in VR. Like the only game where I felt compelled to like lay down on the ground and hide behind a desk from other multiplayer players. Like no other game has given me that level of immersion, even something as great as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, for me, I think the measuring stick is like how often did I think I'm really in it, like a part of this world, and I think VR just has a hand up on other games when it comes to that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, one that I was going to quickly bring up is one I won't shut up about, but like in terms of a game that I just played and like the rest of the world sort of evaporated while I was playing, it was Inside. Like I just like I could not put that thing down. I was so invested in what was happening and like was audibly gasping by the end, It's like, so that's like a form of immersion to me, just getting so, and it's because it's so guided, you don't really see much of the video game edges of it. You know what I mean? Where Ghost of Tsushima, it's like, well, I have this checklist, I have these things I want to do, where Inside, you're just being pulled along the strange journey.
Well, also so guided, but we talked about it 1,000 times when the game came out, but also just so rock solid. Like there's no clipping, there's no anything. It just feels like that game is made out of clay. It's such a bizarre thing.
Yeah.
Nick McKernan says, this one's for Jeffum. Most of us are pretty clued into gaming trends over the last generation, open worlds, microtransactions, free to play, etc. But are there any tabletop trends over the last few years that have stood out to you?
Yeah. So definitely the correct answer to that is the biggest trend, which has been roll and write games, where basically think kind of like Yahtzee, but designers have really blown out that concept of you roll some dice and everyone has their own sheet of paper and you're writing stuff in and kind of making these permanent choices for the game that lead to other decisions. And I think there were a couple that were really successful with that formula, and because they're so easy to make, basically every publisher has come out with a bunch of them.
What's the
and
best
then you
one?
also get into more interesting ones of like flip and write games, which are basically using a card of deck to doing the same thing. But larger than that, I think just the trend of tabletop games, kind of hitting the mainstream and becoming so much more successful and blowing out to the degree that they have over like the last 5 years, to the point where you have like really good games being sold in Target, which it was always just like Monopoly and Connect 4 and those kind of games, but designer tabletop games have become so much more popular in the past couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I successfully introduced my old parents into 2 games over the weekend, which was shocking to me, which was I got a used copy of Catan. It's like, okay, they should just play this. And they loved it, which was shocking to me. I thought it was going to be too much for them. And then Monopoly Deal, which is a card game that's like at a Target or a Walmart for like $5. But I will defend Monopoly Deal quite a bit. Have you played that, Jeffum?
No.
It's like distilling Monopoly down into a fast-playing card game that's over in like 15 minutes. Kyle, I think you would like it with the family.
Yeah, I've earmarked it. I want to check this out. Yeah.
Oh, great. Jeff, but what is roll and write? What's like the best roll and write game? I haven't heard of this.
There's a lot of German style ones. One is called Ganz schön clever, which just translates to that's pretty clever. But it's a good one that's kind of indicative of that type of kind of Yahtzee where you're rolling a couple dice and then you're using those to fill in kind of different boxes and different grids, and each one has a different kind of rule. I'll try and come up with some kind of recommendation list for a future podcast. But
that'd be cool. Yeah.
They are really interesting games. A lot of them are very solitaire focused. Either you can outright just play by yourself, or even if you're playing with a bunch of people, it doesn't really matter how many people. Like some of them will say like between 1 and 99 players, because as long as you have enough sheets, everyone can play.
Yeah.
Has someone tried to do a battle royale board game? Has someone tried to do a battle royale board game?
I don't think so. Not yet.
Well,
I'm surprised there hasn't been one. I guess getting 50 people to all play one game on a table would be tricky. But
I mean, Risk, right? That's kind of like a battle royale.
What?
Game, right?
You just find a way to put 99 factions into Risk.
Here you go, Kyle. Toby Martin. Don't shut up yet, Kyle. Toby Martin writes in and says, hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. What game took you the longest to beat? I don't mean something you started 10-ish years ago and restarted a while after. It has to be the exact same save file. For me, it's Horizon, which took me almost a year to the day, even though I really liked it.
Mine, we mentioned this earlier. Resident Evil Revelations for 3DS was a game that I started right when it came out. And I'd have to go back and find like a tweet. I tweeted about it. I took a screenshot of like when the save file was created and when I beat it.
Yeah.
It was something like 4 years. I didn't restart it. I just picked it up right in the middle and just was like, I need to finish this game.
Yeah.
And I did. So that's probably the biggest one for me. I'm still in the middle of playing Final Fantasy 13. But that doesn't count because I restarted it. Okay. But it's funny because I was playing a bunch, and then I started all of a sudden getting achievements after like 30 hours. And I was like, why am I just only now getting achievements? And I realized because I was playing on my Xbox account, I had the achievements for like the first third of the game already. So I have one achievement that's like 2009, and then the next achievement is 2020.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, hello, Monument Valley guy. Tadadu writes in and says, good morning, MinnMax crew. Good morning. Did you know that you can play free video games natively on a Tesla car? Well, you do now. Below are a list of 10 or so games, and it's up to you to say if they are playable currently on a Tesla. The games can be played with the touchscreen, steering wheel, or plugged into a modern controller.
Oh, watch out, Game Pass.
Yeah. Also, this game is called Does This Game Have a colon, doesn't matter because that is irrelevant. Okay, cool, thank you. All right. Kyle, can you play Asteroids on a Tesla?
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Jeffem, can you play Pac-Man on a Tesla?
Yeah.
You cannot, you idiot. Serial, can you play Missile Command on a Tesla?
Yes.
Kyle, can you play Cuphead on a Tesla?
Yeah.
Yes, but only the first level. Jeffem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the best part, though, right?
Jeffem, can you play Doom on a Tesla?
Yes, absolutely.
No.
I don't believe it. You can play that on anything.
Apparently not.
Someone has to have done it somewhere.
Serial, Fallout Shelter on a Tesla.
I'm going to go with no.
Yes, it's too weird. Yes. Kyle, Stardew Valley on a Tesla screen.
I don't think so.
Yes, you can.
Oh.
Jeffem, getting these layups. Skyrim, playable on a Tesla.
Yes.
No.
Damn it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tedadu. Or should we say Elon Musk? I don't know.
Imagine that story, like of someone playing 100 hours of Stardew Valley on their Tesla. Like, I would just spend nights ignoring my family because I'm a person who owns a Tesla. So who else is going to own a Tesla? And I just ignored them for hours on end, sitting outside in my garage, basically.
It's so gross.
Playing Stardew.
The garage
Valley.
door closed.
Yeah.
Haven't made any progress.
Seeing which one would take me first.
I'm not pointing fingers or nothing here, but Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN. Where's the camera? There. He's really into Teslas. I guess he has like a Tesla podcast, and I listen to IGN Unfiltered interviews. And every once in a while, he'll like slip in some deep cut Tesla reference, and it's just, I love it because it's nerdy, and I love all nerdy stuff. But it's just that weird thing of like, there's Tesla nerds out there. It's just a culture that I've never intersected with once in my life. But then you just find out there's this deep vein of Tesla diehards. Who are you people? What is this?
If he's doing it as like an obscure shout out to that community, I think that's cool. But it's like if it's ever crucial, like people will know about this obscure Tesla reference, and that's maybe a little. I imagine he's doing it in good fun.
No, yeah, it's not even like a shout out. He just says like, I think he was talking to somebody about manufacturing consoles, to Phil Harrison, I think, and then he made some reference to like, Elon Musk always says the trick with assembly lines is something like that. I was like, what?
Overworking people.
That's it. Latchy Dallenberg says, are news reporters / anchors the greatest actors in the world? If you think about it, they have to deliver lines in a meaningful way and believable as well, not knowing if what they're reporting on is entirely true. I think that's a great point, Lachi. I think that's very wise.
The expectation, if you're a news anchor, that you kind of assume it is. I don't think anyone's like looking at their copy and thinking, I don't know if this is true.
But they are acting, and they have to read this stuff sometimes for the first time. I think it is one of the greatest roles on the planet.
They're certainly reacting to that stuff, and they have to there's also like the idea that you have to do everything with the same kind of tone. Like there is a house style for a lot of places of like, you have to recite it like this, right? You can't necessarily veer too far away from kind of like that house style.
You got to punch the words like the same broadcast news, right?
It's a different skill though than acting though, because being a news anchor, though difficult for a myriad reasons, you're not inhabiting a different person. You're not playing a character.
You're not pretending to be someone else.
I think you're playing a character. You're heightening yourself.
But I think it's different from the like, okay, I really have to sell the fact that I'm a news anchor. And when you're a news anchor, I think it's a different type of acting for sure. Like,
I mean, are you acting as a podcast host right now, Hanson?
No, but I think that's different. Because news
I don't think it's that far off though.
No, I think it is far off because news anchors can crack.
They're reading a script.
Yeah, if you want a great night, just look up news bloopers 2016 best of. Like, just look at those crazy compilations. My friend Jesse always just puts it on in the background. It is the funniest thing in the world. And like, yeah, I can crack where I start laughing for no reason, but it's not like, oh, our illusion is shattered. Whereas news bloopers, Jeff, have you seen that one where it starts with those two women on the screen and she just is looking at herself in the reflection? She goes, "I so pale." Have you seen this? Look up news blooper "I so pale." It is just a perfect example of just somebody just shattering this facade. Or, you know,
I do think that they are putting, like, they are on in a way that I think, you know, that maybe we aren't, like, as podcast people on as much. But, like, I think acting, like, news anchors are, like, one specific type of acting, whereas you think about, like, the best actors have, like, oh, I can play this type of way or this type of way. Whereas I think most news anchors are like, can you hone down this one particular way of saying these things and kind of flowing like the news cycles. I don't think it's easy, but I think like if you think about greatest actor, I don't know that, you know, I don't think people would make the cut.
I'm just saying WCCO from Minnesota's Amelia Santinello is the greatest actor I've ever seen in my life.
He hasn't won an award.
She's won like 1,000 Emmys. Award. Look at that. You know, she wins Emmys. Actors win Emmys. What's the difference?
Not much, I guess.
Thank you. The done deal. Gavel, gavel, gavel. Sean, Jeezy Do It Easy says, greetings, Double M's. I just want to say, I've always found you guys extremely hilarious since the Game Informer days. Oh, thank you so much. Skipping this part. My question is, what's your favorite video game joke from a stand-up comedian? For me, he loves, there's a Ron Funches bit about Persona 5 recently. Apparently.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I watched his recent special, even. I don't think he has a lot of video game jokes in there.
But what stands out to you, Kyle?
You can find Kumail Nanjiani's take on Heavy Rain on YouTube pretty easily if you just look up Nanjiani and Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
And he just talks, I mean, the sort of the punchline of the whole piece is that it's like, this is an elected entertainment experience, and he's playing a sequence where you're a very depressed, divorced dad cooking a microwave dinner for your son, and he's like, I paid $60 to have this, you know, simulation, and it's very good. I would go look it up.
Yeah. I always think of Pete Holmes. I forget what special it is, but he's obsessed with like recording booths, and he has this bit talking about Street Fighter 2, and then he just like enacts the guy being the recording booth. Like, okay, so just quick take here. Japan. How is that? You think that'll work? And just like doing all of those like country lines from Street Fighter 2, because he's right. Like somebody had to do that in a very probably stiff environment. Just scream the name of a country. That was good.
Yeah. Speaking of like the Gig Leak from last week, where they released like the perfectly like clear audio versions of all the Softbox lines, that I would love to see the Street Fighter voice lines in that same clarity of just who was it who said that.
Right. Connor has. Oh boy, this podcast is weird. Connor says, I got a game for you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've done it or not before. It's called Kirby Boss or Biblical Entity.
We do this one every week.
I know. I've listed a few pairs of names, and each pair you'll have to guess which one is a boss villain from the Kirby series and which one is a named angel or demon from Christian or Hebrew scripture. Oh boy.
Okay, this is amazing.
All right, Kyle. Which one is from Kirby? Metatron or Taranza?
Ooh, I think Taranza's from Kirby.
Correct. Metatron is an angel's name. Jeff?
Metatron?
Yeah.
Is it angel?
Not Mega. Yeah, Metatron.
That I actually knew, but my pause was I was like, has that also been a Kirby boss too? Like, is it
getting out of the game with a trick.
Okay, yeah. Are there any trick answers? Like, this
there are not.
gold.
There are not. There are not.
Good.
Oh boy. Jeffem, Megalore or Murmur? Which is the Kirby character? Kirby boss.
How is murmur spelled?
Murmur.
Versus Megalore?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Kirby is Murmur?
No, Murmur's a demon. And he's right behind you right now!
I totally would have guessed Murmur. That sounds like something I fought in a Kirby game, man. Murmur.
Suriel, Legion or Astral Birth?
Jeez. I would say neither, but Astral Birth is the Kirby boss?
Correct. Well done. Kyle?
Does it say which Kirby games, actually?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Legion is a demon's name.
I think that was from Kirby the New Testament.
All right, Kyle. Dandelion versus DeRoach. Which is Kirby? Dandelion or DeRoach?
I'm going to go Dandelion as being Kirby.
Dandelion is a demon, Kyle. And he's behind you right now! I can't use it every time. Thank you, Connor, for the weirdest game anybody's ever submitted.
That's very good. I like that one a lot.
Oh, boy.
What's going on in this Bible? There's Metatron and...
Yeah. There's a lot of...
What if like no one's actually read the Bible and you just find out this is a very different book than what I thought it was going to be?
There's a lot of fun stuff in there. Absolutely.
Jesus isn't even in it.
Hunter S. Sack says, hi, hey, hello. It's time to play How Well Does Open Critic Know That Critic? Or do these critics know these critics? Sure, Hunter, we'll go with the other. I found the top 3 lowest rated games on OpenCritic by Kyle, Jeffem, and Suriel. Also,
cool.
The lowest 2. Okay.
Highest and lowest? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Kyle, okay. I don't think you can guess. You'll be the last one to guess. Does anybody know the highest score Kyle ever gave?
A 10 for Breath of the Wild.
Right? Correct.
Any Zelda game.
Correct.
No,
all those Zelda games he reviewed.
I gave the one whose title I can't remember, like a 7.
Triforce
the
Heroes.
one with the clothing, the co-op one. We all remember it. Triforce Heroes.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to go back to that one at some point, Kyle.
That was a weird 10 that you gave. Yeah. I just like that there's 3 of them, man.
Kyle, do you know, or can anybody else guess the other 2 highest games that Kyle's ever scored?
Inside's
9.75.
Hyperlight Drifter?
Hyperlight Drifter 9.5. Suriel, killing it.
Wow.
Does anybody know
Kyle. Good games right there. I'm proud of those scores.
That's true.
Does anybody know the lowest score Kyle's ever given?
This one's going to be tough, I think, because I think I know what it is. I don't remember the title.
Oh,
wait. I think it just came to me.
I think you remember this title.
You want me to be quiet, right?
Desperately.
Man, I don't know. I feel like I can't remember. I don't think there's like a clear instance in my head of you giving like a game a really bad score.
I think there is, and he got a lot of crap for it.
Was it Skyrim VR?
Skyrim VR was a 5. Kyle, do you remember the other one that you can't remember the name of? You gave a 5.5?
Is it Oda Medius Excellence?
No, apparently Faye.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like Faye.
I didn't know you didn't like that game. All right, Jeffem. Does anybody know the highest score Jeffem already ever gave?
Yeah, please tell me.
Do you not know, Jeffem?
I got some guesses, I guess. But.
Okay.
Is Until Dawn in that like top 3?
Until Dawn is as highest at a 9.0. Highest. That's amazing, Jeff. How many years were you reviewing games at Game Informer?
10.
Wow. That's...
I mean, he's also the guy that reviewed 1-2 Switch, so that gives you a good idea.
I must have given out quite a bit of 9s, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
You know the scale went to 10, right?
Oh.
Any other guesses?
1 through 9 scale that Favo always used.
Okay, I think I know 2 more.
Please.
Diablo 3.
Oh, it's not listed here.
It had to have been a...
Yeah. That might be weird because it was like you did the console version and maybe Metacritic or OpenCritic's score sticks with the PC one. That might be a weird thing.
Right.
Or maybe it just doesn't pull from that far back. Borderlands?
No, not listed here. Is this a flawed list? Because this person has your second highest at Horizon Zero Dawn, 875, and then Helldivers at an 8.5. Do you think that's possible?
No, I've for sure given more 9s than that.
Okay, and your lowest review? We've mentioned it on the podcast, and Kyle just mentioned it again.
Kyle just mentioned it again. Well, now I have no idea.
Kyle?
1-2 Switch.
Yeah, 1-2 Switch was a 4. Oh. You gave one other 4, Jeffem.
I mean, I thought it was going to be the Kung Fu Roller or whatever, that Kung Fu Racer.
Oh, it was a PlayStation Move game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, where you're on like an office chair.
Yes, and it was terrible. And the headline was worse than a Kung Fu kick to the groin.
Kung Fu a High Impact?
No,
that was the Kinect game, I think.
Yes, that's one that Dan Reichert apparently reviewed. Anyways, the other one that you gave a 4.
Title?
Nope, the other one you gave a 4 is Armacrog. Is that an adventure game?
Okay.
All right, Surreal's highest review. Does anybody have a guess?
Owlboy.
Incorrect. I think he gave that a 9, so these are higher than that.
Yeah. I don't know, some Suda51 garbage.
No, let's see. One of these is very on brand. Came out 2017, I think January 2017.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
Dragon Ball Fighters. There we go. 925. Surreal, do you have any? Oh, can anybody guess any other ones? Because one of them is very fun, and you wouldn't expect. It's also a 925. Surreal, do you know what it is?
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Take it away, Kyle.
Is it a Pac-Man?
It is. Which one?
Championship Edition 2?
Correctamundo. And then the third...
Surprisingly controversial score, because I think the consensus is people don't super love that game as much as the previous ones, but I think it's better.
Yeah. Also, Monster Hunter World, you have a 925.
Yeah, that was the weird one, because I was like for the PC version, right? So it was most like, I think the skew there was like evaluate like how it runs compared to the console version.
Right.
So it was like a weird thing there.
Okay. Do you have any idea what your lowest score is, Surreal? I haven't heard of either of these games.
Because I think the most negative review I gave I didn't score because it was for Zamo like several years ago. It was for Star Fox Zero, and I did not care for that game, but I didn't give it a score.
It would have been a 0.
Oh, it didn't occur to me that there's probably some non-Game Informer ones for Surreal.
Yep, there is. There's one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the lowest one I must have given it Game Informer was for like I don't remember what it's called. Is it Narcosis?
No.
It was like a
Nope.
Okay.
The game is called This Book is a Dungeon?
Oh, right. Yeah, I gave that a 5, right?
Yes. Good call. Steam seems to love it. What the hell is this thing?
It was because it's a book also. It's like a game that you can play that I think also is a book about someone's experience making the game.
Okay.
So it's like, here's how I put this together and you can play it or whatever. So it was like this weird kind of experiment. It was neat in terms of like the concept, but like the game wasn't very fun, and I didn't think like the book was like super educational. And it felt more about like, here's a series of anecdotes about making games versus like, here's how you do it. Here's a good approach to doing this.
Sure. Sincerely, Eric writes in and says, "Hey everybody, what's your favorite kind of bread?" chocolate chip banana bread is number one food of all time, so it has to top the bread stack, but not conventional bread, I understand. But like just a good, fresh, basic-ass bread coming out of the oven, tough to beat.
Like a pumpernickel. Good pumpernickel, like what they got at... although I guess that's not what they have at Outback Steakhouse. Like you think it's pumpernickel, but it's actually not.
Interesting.
It's just like wheat bread or something. But a sourdough. Good sourdough. Good too.
I think my favorite is probably still like the Mexican bolillo, which is sort of like French bread. Like I think, yeah. It's a type of savory bread traditionally made in Mexico.
Mexican French bread?
Basically, yeah. I think sometimes they just call it pan francés, which is just French bread.
Huh.
But it's like it is quite possibly like the softest kind of bread you can buy. And it's like I would, when I was a kid, I would just eat like just a roll of it without anything on it, because like the actual texture of the bread itself was so good that like I almost didn't want to put anything on it because of how it would interfere with the texture of the bread.
Ooh, speaking of that regional bread, I just had some this weekend. Always underrated. A good Hawaiian roll. Tough to beat. Tough to beat. Just a little bit moist, a little bit sweet. It's got it all.
Hanson, to go back, not to rewind, but I'm afraid I gave Kung Fu Rider a 3.5. So that entire game was invalid.
Apparently it's invalid. This is Open Critic, so blame Open Critic and not our dear friend Hunter S. Sachs. Thank you for the follow-up. Sean Mason. Oh, hang on. We should talk about this. I was listening to this Giant Bomb podcast. I forget which one it was exactly, but Vinny was on it, Surreal. And Vinny said something that you know those moments where you listen to a podcast and you connect with the person so hard about like, yes, this person's going on a limb, confessing this inner secret, and I've never connected with somebody on this before. And everybody made fun of him, and every time I brought it up with somebody, they've made fun of me too. But Vinny said on this podcast, he's like, you know, like when you were a kid and you were like watching a movie about like prisoners and they got like just like a stale piece of bread, and you know how that bread looked really good and you were like salivating for that bread? It's like, yeah. Does anybody else have this experience of like a pirate movie where they give them some bread and like I want to lick the screen I just love bread that much? Is anybody else on this train with Vinny and I?
I had a similar thing where anytime someone is talking with like their mouth full, I'm just like, man, I would love to just eat whatever they're eating, because it's like, I don't know, for some reason, like people talking with their mouths full always made me really hungry. I'm just like, I don't know.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard, Surreal. Everybody shame him. Forget this bread thing.
When you just played, people laughed at you. And then Surreal goes out on a limb, and this is what he gets.
Yeah, but I have Vinny, like one of the greatest human beings on the planet, on my team. This guy's interested in mouths. All right, never mind. Really? But none of that? Like, you didn't think that looked amazing?
Like, I
probably.
What's that, Jeff?
Yeah, sometimes it might look like a good piece of bread.
Okay. But like a craving. Like you got to go to prison for that bread. Like 1600s pirate prison. Anyway,
it's the only way.
It's the only way. Sean Mason says, hey, in high school, I was sent to the principal's office for organizing our senior prank. While the principal lectured me about how seniors need to be leaders and set examples for the younger students, I couldn't help but burst out laughing, and I couldn't stop laughing. 7 years later, I still don't know why I couldn't stop laughing. In your life...
Stopped.
What's that?
And I haven't stopped laughing.
When did you guys become the Joker? No, in your life, when was the most inappropriate time you burst out laughing?
That's a good question. Yeah. I think it used to happen when we were kids in church. I think was like the kind of uncontrollable, like infectious laughter.
Yep.
And it's specifically because you know you're not supposed to be doing it. And so it doesn't really even matter what sets it off. But
right. It's probably looking at the word murmur in the Bible, which would be, yeah. But it's like, as a family...
Metatron.
That sounds absurd. It needs to be in that location where you're not supposed to be laughing. Like, this is specific, but I remember best friend Ronnie, probably like 7th grade, something like that. I was eating dinner with his family, and we're sitting around the kitchen table. Pleasant, fine meal. And his grandma was there, and she was very, very old and very frail. And we're having potatoes. and she just took the ketchup bottle and just like, and just squeezed the ketchup bottle. And just made like the best ketchup fart. I thought I was going to die. I was melting down, just red, tears streaming as I was trying just not to laugh in this old woman's face for just making a ketchup fart, and I couldn't do it. I broke down inside, and then I had to point and laugh. No, I didn't do that, but that's what I think of. Joe Dean writes in and says, "Hey, baby boys, I played a lot of Fall Guys today, and I wanted to ask, what do you think is inside of the Fall Guys? Are they filled with blood? Is it like a jelly bean inside? What is going on in there?"
It's caterpillars in the middle of metamorphosis.
Yep, it's like mid-caterpillar. Jason Wojnar says, "Hey, Kyle, are you considered a cool dad because of your job? Are your daughter's friends impressed when they learn you play and write about video games?"
No, not at all. I remember this kid had a Pokemon shirt on, and I was talking to the mom, and I was like, "Oh, you like Pokemon?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I actually met the people that made Pokemon. I went to Japan." And he was just like, "I like Pokemon cards."
Yep.
I was like, "All right, never mind."
He's not at all interested in what you had to say.
You'll get it someday, kid. You'll come crawling back to me.
Yeah. Someday you'll be cool, man. Really? Do you think your daughter thinks you're cool?
I put a sticker on my car that says "Cool Dad" that Jeff Cork always thought was very funny. So,
wait, yes. Are you intending it to be funny?
Do you think your job will get cooler as Claire gets older, and that, like, I think there's like an age where you kind of don't have any context for anything? So someone could say, "I'm an astronaut who's like been to Jupiter," and people would be like, "Oh, okay. I have no context for what that means." But I think as you get older and people realize, oh, not everyone does your job for a living, I think it might become more impressive as she gets into like older groups of kids.
Yeah, maybe. Some of her friends' parents think it's cool.
Okay.
Which I'll take that.
Hell yeah. Bob Buell writes in, and he says, "Evening cohorts. It's time once again to play America's fastest growing game show sensation, Nolan Double or Trouble. I will name a video game, and you have to decide if it is : has a colon in the title, Nolan features the voice from Nolan North, Double has a colon in the title and voice acting from Nolan North, or Trouble, none of the above, no colon and no Nolan North." All right, do we all understand the rules of : Nolan, Double, or Trouble?
Sure. Yeah. I feel like the rules are in the name, really.
It's just so stupid. Okay. Kyle, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, : Nolan, Double, or Trouble?
I think that's a Nolan.
That is a Nolan. Way to go. You got colon in that Nathan title. Drake. Way to go. You understand how this game is played. Jeffem, Monster Hunter World.
Oh, crap.
If Nolan is credited as additional voices,
that still counts. That still counts.
I'm going to say Trouble.
I'm sorry. There is a colon in Monster Hunter World. I believe we talked about it last week even, so that's embarrassing. Remember your colons. It's the key to MinnMax success.
But no,
healthy lifestyle. Right?
That's right. That's right, Serial. Serial. Injustice, Gods Among Us. : Nolan, Double, Trouble.
I'm going to say a double.
That's a double, baby. Woo! Kyle, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Ooh. I think that's a colon.
That's a Trouble. That's no Nolan, no colon. Jeffem, Codename Steam.
Codename Steam.
The 3DS game with Abraham Lincoln fighting a bear or something.
Of course.
Underrated.
Name Steam.
Nintendo developed it.
I'll do a double.
Fire Emblem.
Sorry, that's just a colon. No Nolan North for a Nintendo project. Come on, let's look alive here. Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. Come on.
Has Nolan not ever been in a Nintendo game?
I don't know. I can't think of one. Can you? I bet he hasn't.
No, I don't think I can either.
Additional voices, man. That's how you get in there.
Yeah. Surreal. Crash Tag Team Racing.
I'm going to say that's a Nolan.
That is a straight up Nolan. Kyle. Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Oh. Can I get a year?
2017.
Okay. I think that's a Trouble.
That is a Trouble. Way to go.
Yes.
Oh boy, there's so many more of these.
Really? Wow.
Jeffem, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Fate of Two Worlds.
Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That's a double.
That is a double. Surreal Vasquez, Lego Jurassic World.
That's a colon?
That's a Nolan, my friend. Kyle, XCOM 2, War of the Chosen.
Colon.
That's a double. And Jeffem, I guess we'll end with you. Red Dead Redemption 2.
That's a Trouble.
That's a Trouble. All right. Thank you so much, Bob Beal, for sending in this unbelievable game. What do y'all like for question of the week?
I like the Kirby game a lot.
I like the Kirby one.
I did not expect that one to go over so well. I was on the fence about reading it. It's so weird.
I don't even remember. There was what was the caterpillar prompt? I just liked where that went.
That just was it. Is what do they know? I like the caterpillar one too.
Do you think caterpillars know that they'll become butterflies?
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one just because it's like I want to encourage more weird off-kilter questions that have no relation to our expertise.
Ask us science questions.
It was the most thought-provoking question of the week for me, honestly.
I changed my life.
Yeah. All right. Charles Davis, congratulations. You've just metamorphosized into a winner for Question of the Week on the MinnMax Show, and you win this amazing plushie from I'm 8-Bit. So again, you can go to I'm 8-Bit store and use the promo code MinnMax Show for 10% off everything. Thank you so much, Charles Davis, for supporting us on Patreon. And now it's time for something that we like to call Get a Load of This. Kyle? Do you want to kick it off?
Sure. Let me just get Slack a load in here. Hey, get a load of this, you guys. Someone shared this thread from a Studio Ghibli art book. It was an art book specifically about Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which was a manga before it was a movie. And Hayao Miyazaki went through the book and wrote all these notes about the art and stuff like that. Basically like a written commentary. And someone shared, there's a thread that we'll link to that shared a bunch of them, but like they just cracked me up because he's so honest. Like he's always so honest about everything that there's a bunch that are just like, I don't remember drawing this. I don't know what this is for. I don't even like this one. And like there was one, let me see if I can, it's taken just a second to load, but there was one that kind of had a bit of a story. It's just a picture of Nausicaa. I don't know. I know I'm the one who drew this, but I don't really like this picture. The Nausicaa inside me would never pose like this. But I know I drew it.
It's also funny because
I don't even remember this one.
Yeah, like part of the comedy there isn't.
Here,
like,
let me.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No, I think part of the comedy there is that like they bothered to print those quotes at all, right? Because they could have just said, "This isn't a meaningful quote. We can just like have these without captions." But the fact that it's like literally anything this guy says, we will print, and it's just like it's just a series of like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah, that's perfect.
But there's one that's like it's Nausicaa in her sort of, if you know the film, she has like this sort of underground lab where she's figuring out how to remove the poison. And it's a nice picture, but he writes, I drew this for a calendar included inside an issue of Animage. I couldn't think of anything to draw, but my editor simply refused to go home. Eventually, I caved and drew this, grumbling about not having enough time.
That's beautiful.
So that's the kind of incredible commentary you get from Hayao Miyazaki about all his beautiful Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind art.
Every nerd's favorite dick, isn't he? Like...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally.
That documentary is still very good. And remember we made that video, Kyle, you can find it on our YouTube channel, which is an obscure beat from 1992 where Miyazaki pitched Miyamoto the one video game that he would like to make if he ever made a video game. This is Hayao Miyazaki. It's from Studio Ghibli. So you can check it on our YouTube channel. It should be under that name. And it's a fun little offshoot, little piece of history there. Jeffem, what do you got, man?
Hey, get a load of this.
Okay.
I believe you gave a load of this in a previous episode, Hanson.
Great.
But the Last Dance documentary is now on Netflix.
Yes.
And it was amazing. And I watched it with my wife, who has absolutely no interest in basketball.
This is the Michael Jordan documentary, by the way.
Yeah, about the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan and their entire run through of all their championships. And she was just as riveted by it as I was. It's just remarkable storytelling and interviews with all those people. I couldn't believe how many people they interviewed, and every single one of like Michael Jordan's rivalries in his own head of like people who wronged him, and that forced him to go out and score 70 points in a game. And it was just a remarkable documentary, but now it's much more widely available.
I was literally about to text you to be like, I need somebody else from MinnMax to watch Last Dance because I'm going to lose my mind about this thing.
It is such a, like, even if you don't like basketball, it is such a fun moment of like getting caught up in like, oh, this is where the world was at that time. This was like the most prominent, like, you know, besides like whatever was going on internationally. They're like, this was like the thing that people were talking about in like the mid to late 90s, and like, seeing his descendants as like, you know, Michael Jordan's descendants. I think for how involved it was, it is interesting how much they make him look like a bit of a dick, you know, like it is not totally like this glowing like, oh, Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time and everybody loved him, because like half those people you talk to, like people he played with, and he's like, man, kind of a dick.
Yeah, like he was a huge dick to Scottie Pippen at times. Yeah, and so like in interviews, a lot of people come out and talk a little bit more, because there's a lot of controversy when that was first released about like, you know, he had to give the green light for this entire thing. He's a producer on this documentary, so how revealing can it be? But It does. Yeah, I think it's more honest than you would think having his name slapped on there. It's just like, it avoids certain stuff that's pretty glaring. Like, oh, his marriage is never really talked about. Those types of things where it's like, I think that's fine. It would shed more light on his life in general, but there's enough in there just on how much of a dick he was to competitors that it, you know, reveals a truer glimpse of this guy. Suriel?
Yeah, pivoting completely from that. One of my favorite articles I've read this week is from GameIndustry.biz by Rebecca Valentine, which has a really nice headline: "Conflict Minerals: Which gaming companies have funded human rights abuses in 2019?" And so it's part of this regular series that I guess they've been doing for the past few years, where every year they kind of check in on several companies' relationship with like their pipelines for consoles. And I think it's like, it's especially important, I think, with all the new consoles coming out, you know, both the new consoles coming out this year, that we kind of keep this stuff in mind in the back of our heads of like, here's where, you know, Microsoft mentions, like, they have like this flow chart of like, okay, starts at Microsoft, then we go to the tier 1 supplier, then there are the upstream suppliers, and then the 3TG processors or refiners, and then the 3TG mines. So they have like, hey, our supply line is like better than most. And just like keeping track of which companies are kind of getting their minerals from where, I think is kind of an interesting read. That you know, with all like, as much as, you know, we're excited about the new consoles, I think it's important that we kind of not kind of keep this, like, that we keep up with this kind of stuff, because I think it's important, even if it's something that doesn't affect us. Yeah, that's interesting on a day-to-day basis.
The links for all these are below, by the way, in the description. So this was on Last Week Tonight, but it's an article from Smithsonian Mag about recreating a 3,000-year-old voice. So here's a quote from the article. Employed as a high-ranking priest and scribe at the Karnak State Temple in Thebes, Nesyamun is the mummy, performed rituals filled with both song and speech. Active during the turbulent reign of Ramses XI, who served as Egypt's pharaoh between 1099 and 1069 BC, he died in his mid-50s, likely due to severe allergic reaction, and suffered from ailments including gum disease and heavily worn teeth. A new study published in the journal Scientific Reports fulfills the 3,000-year-old priest's vision of the afterlife. drawing on CT scans of his surprisingly intact vocal tract to engineer an approximation of his voice. The soundbite reconstructs the sound that would have come out of his vocal tract if he was in his coffin and his larynx came to life again. Are you ready for this, Jeffem? The sound of a 3,000-year-old mummy? Here we go.
I'm terrible.
Sorry. There we go, everybody. He's come to life again. It's the most disappointing thing I've ever heard in my life.
They didn't even try to like have him say a word and just like, this is what his general vowel sound would be like. It sounds like when like an NES game, they got really ambitious about like, we need to have some sort of voice act. Like this is maybe based on a licensed property. This sounds like it would be out of the Ghostbusters game when someone gets hurt or something.
Yes, exactly. It needs to be sampled to that for sure.
Yeah.
I just love like this huge buildup of like all this research, the pinnacle of technology for 3,000 years reviving this guy. And then it's just. Anyways, hey, did you pull one from the community Discord, Jeffem, for Get a Load of This?
Hey, Get a Load of This. This one was posted by Shazira in the Get a Load of This channel. It's a... Well, and I lost it.
That's a shame.
No.
Perfect.
I'm sure it was good, though.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. It's a PC Gamer article. I think I can't see the URL in this picture that I took. By Martin Robinson. It's called Chasing Storm Isaias in Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh my God.
And so basically he looked at how, because the game pulls real life weather patterns from all over the world, he kind of watched the hurricane going up the East Coast and then basically took off in a plane and flew through it and kind of describes, how it simulates it, how well it is, and, what it looks like and everything. And apparently it did a pretty good job of it. So
that's amazing. I'm so glad I get to play this game this year, unlike anybody else. Cool. Thank you, everybody, for supporting MinnMax, for listening to this marathon. I'm sorry this episode went on for so long. This is my fault for doing that full rundown of the release calendar, so our apologies, but thanks for being troopers and watching or listening to this full thing. And thanks to everybody in the Backstage Pass, at the new Backstage Pass tier. Thanks to everybody in the chat who has been watching the entire show live. Again, if you support us at that $10 tier, you can watch this show live, The Deepest Dive live, watch Leo edit, watch later, and just the overall creation process live. It's a pretty raw look, uncensored, dare I say. And there's a little pre and post show as well for some of our recordings and streams. So thanks so much, everybody in the chat. And thanks for being a nice community, a nice little chat room in there. And thank you to our new and old $50 supporters for keeping this whole thing a-running. Do you all have the names pulled up? Let's try going around the table this time.
I can.
Great. Hey, I want to say thank you to Captain Subs 1 for supporting us on Patreon at the $50 tier. Kyle?
The Bam Box.
Jeffem?
I am 8-bit.
All right, we got the order down. You got it, Serial.
Jawarhello.
Mirko Arico-Torreno.
TimeBombTom.
How about that Tyler Carver?
Zachary Pligge.
BeatenDownBrian.
Rebekah Lang.
How about Bryan, but with a Y?
Mark Seliga.
Andrew Vala.
Ludwig Roque.
Roque.
Jesse Vitelli.
Brett Hunter.
All right, let's see if we can go faster. Thomas Hoster, thank you.
Snake24.
Yarrow.
Rob Hudak, aka Rook.
William Garcia.
Thom Blackburn.
SpiralInYourEyes.
Scott Castro.
Thomas Hankins.
Richard Smuts.
JT Fels.
Fighter Dan.
Paul Arias.
Andrew Sanford.
Kris.
Steve Bamdad.
And Matthew Paxton. Thanks so much, everybody. Be good, have fun, let's go.